What's going on? 6 o'clock. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Thursday Night Football was a penalty palooza as the Cowboys take down the Giants 20-15. Malik Neighbors continuing to impress with a 12-catch, 115-yard performance, but not enough as the Giants fall to 1-3 and Dallas gets to 500 at 2-2. Titans' first injury report of the week as they prepare to head off for Miami. Jeffrey Simmons was a DNP with a elbow injury. L'Jarius Sneed and DeAndre Hopkins with veteran rest days off. And Amani Hooker was limited with a face injury after catching a cleat to the face last Sunday. Miami without left tackle Teron Armstead, cornerback Kendall Fuller, Calais Campbell, and former Titan David Long all did not practice. Skylar Thompson was limited with his chest injury. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome into a Friday edition of RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will on a rainy, but we need it type of rainy day.
Yeah.
Alongside our 11-year NFL veteran, Arvol for life, we've got Ramon Foster in the house. We have Robert Walsh, Burt behind the glass, doing all the work today. I'm Kayla Anderson. Will Bowling enjoying a bachelor trip. Hopefully he made it safely down in his, 15-person car?
15 passenger vans out here, man.
Hopefully no rain in the way of them. Maybe they missed that, but we are getting buckets this morning. So first and foremost, if you are on the roads this morning, please drive carefully and just give yourself a little bit of time to get to your destination today, because there is a lot of pooling out there with the amount of rain we are getting. But with saying that, folks, how are we doing this morning? Of course, you can follow us. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And I think we're off to a good morning. I got my coffee here, revved up, got a little sleep after some Thursday Night Football.
Absolutely. Same here. By the way, too, a couple quick things this morning. Got to apologize to one of my football players when I see him later today at practice. Because yesterday we were speaking about cramps, right? And I was just like, the worst one is, I said, the hamstring, okay? And one of my football players on Wednesday had a bad calf cramp. So bad, I thought he tore his ACL or something the way he was grabbing his leg, okay?
Okay.
With that being said, this morning, I wakes up out of the bed. I didn't even get up out of the bed. And out of nowhere, I catch a calf cramp in my right driving leg. And all I could think this morning was, this better not kick in while I'm driving in the rain, okay? It hurts.
Did we jinx this?
I think so, Kayla. And I'm blaming you, okay? Of all people, I'm blaming you this morning.
Dang it, I thought I was going to get away.
Listen, I still feel it in my calf. This sucks, okay?
You need to drink some water.
I have been drinking water. I should have drank some pickle juice this morning as well. I should have also did.
We got those Wickles
you
pickles.
You got salt tablets back there, man? Anything that can render this?
You need a nanner.
A nanner. That's what I also need, too. But the calf. The calf.
What's a nanner?
A nanner? You ain't never had a nanner?
I have had
a banana. I got a banana.
Banana. That's what it is.
Okay. I thought it was like
potassium.
In the South, we don't say whole words, okay?
Nanner.
It's just like South, like mouth, okay? Four. You
okay.
See,
Wait, 4 is 4?
Door, dough, okay? More, mo. See? Hey,
I think I've been with the mo before. Give me more money, please.
You say door, we say dough.
Yes.
Okay, that's what we at this morning.
Okay, so nanner, I thought it was some specialty, mix or something that you popped into your water. Nope, it's just a banana.
Just a nanner.
Sounds like that could be a drink right there. Give me a nanner.
I'd probably drink
Give me a double nanner.
I would drink one of those. Okay, it's almost like that rum drink, man. Like what is it, 100 bananas or something? I've never actually had it.
You in a bad place because you don't know, like you're drinking like a juice, essentially.
Really?
That happened to me when I was a young broadcaster living in Montgomery, Alabama. We went to Panama City and we were drinking that stuff. Went through a whole bottle. Needless to say, I was not functioning that night.
Yeah.
Because that was a whole day worth.
Yeah, I've yet to have it, at least with knowing what's in my drink is what I would say, okay?
Yes.
But also this too, Kayla gave y'all warnings about driving in. This morning in front of the stadium, I've been bragging about how I'm glad they repaved the roads. And I don't think that's the final pavement because, I mean, it's probably going to mess up again. But I'll tell you this, if you're driving on the new paved roads in front of the stadium, slow down because all I had this morning was concepts of a line, okay? I had no idea where the lines were on the interstate.
Can't see anything.
And that's what the rain will do to you. So all I had was a concept.
Yep.
And I was just trying to make sure I stayed in my lane as much as I possibly could.
Me too. I saw people in front of me hydroplaning, so I instantly, in that situation too, slow even further down because you can't see where those pockets of water are, which can be extremely dangerous, especially if people want to tail each other. So don't do that this morning, folks.
I know. And also, too, I love the truck drivers because they move America, okay? And I know Cuzzo might not be listening.
We've got a lot of truck drivers listening.
But I wish there was a better way of stopping the mist from coming from the tires. And I don't know. Maybe that's the invention that we need to think of here, okay? Because that mist is probably the worst thing behind.
Their mud flaps are supposed to knock some of it down.
I mean, and maybe it is doing a good enough, and maybe I'm just a complainer is what I'm saying. But yeah,
I agree with you though, because that's one of the worst parts about driving behind those kind of trucks.
Yeah.
That's why I try to pass real quick if we're on the interstate and it's maybe a downpour. I just step on the gas to try to pass because otherwise I feel like I'm just going to be dealing with that the whole time.
I don't even want to step on the gas. All I can think of is hydroplaning in those moments.
That's I know.
That's what happened to me this morning. I had to tap brakes coming around a corner and it kind of slid out from underneath me. That's when I texted you guys, which is probably also not safe. But I didn't want you guys to also
you were pulled
wreck.
over.
Oh, trust me. I was driving slow anyway, Bert. I appreciate the heads up on that one, man, because it was coming down pretty good this morning. So be safe.
You know what it didn't do? It didn't rain on the Cowboys parade.
It did not. Although I thought it was.
I thought it was close.
I thought they were going to cough it up last night.
20-15. They were able to pull it out.
Danny Dimes was dealing last night,
He was, but they only ended up having 5 field goals in this game.
Yeah, he was cooking up and down the field, though. As far as like him being a starter in this league, I think is there. It's just that time has to be given. I mean, you've already paid him $100 million, so you might as well get the most out of him as you possibly can. He threw some passes last night that I didn't know he had in his repertoire.
Yeah.
He also was able and willing to move the ball with his legs, too. Danny Dimes
we've seen that before, too, on display. Remember that one meme?
Yeah.
He had so much momentum going forward that he actually face planted.
Well, not really an athlete is what he is.
At that moment, yeah.
Not really an athlete, but maybe I'm just a softie for second chances and stuff, okay?
No, I'm with you on it.
But if you got a guy that you think can win you games, and I thought last night he was capable of doing it. The Giants defense giving it up to CD Lamb the way they did last night, that's more problematic than anything Daniel Jones did.
My fantasy team loved it. So
you had CD Lamb? Okay, all right.
And he was not good last weekend and lost me my fantasy matchup.
Wow, he showed up this week, man. He
did. He looked
let
good.
them have him. Yeah,
and that's what they needed, right, Ramon? We previewed that game and we said, CD's kind of went missing. What did we talk about?
But he also missed most of training camp this year too. Yeah,
he absolutely did because he finally got that deal and everything. But they had been having issues. The Cowboys had with stopping the run. Well, guess what? They only gave up 26 yards on the ground last night.
Yeah.
So that was in a better direction. But guess what? They're looking like they lost Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
He was carted off, and it looks like it's
I missed
an
that
ankle.
late. Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had like a thing where he looked like he might have had a concussion. He came back in the game, was fine, and then that happened, and then he's carted off, and it's like. That's not a good sign for this Cowboys defense that is kind of still trying to fix things.
Yeah, I know, because the Giants competed well with them, too. What I've also noticed is Mel Kiper was 100% wrong in suggesting that, they need to take away cover 2 and make the safeties play close to the box. But what I have seen week in and week out over the first 3 weeks is this. quarterbacks don't necessarily pass for as many yards as they used to. Like a good game for a quarterback is exactly what Dak Prescott did last night. 22 for 27, 221 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's fascinating to me because I come from the era where we were airing it out big time. Like I was used to seeing like 300s, like 325, 350, 375 games.
About right.
And now most quarterbacks are only throwing for like 250. And again, when we're looking at, I guess, our expectations for Will Levis, watching what Dak Prescott, who's the highest paid quarterback on an annual average basis, do last night was manage a football game. He didn't throw for 400 yards. He didn't hurt the team. He simply got efficiency out of it, 2 touchdowns and 1 sack. Like, what is the NFL quarterback right now? And I know a lot of them are also supplementing yards by running. Dak's not really a runner anymore, considering the ankle or the leg injury that he had. But most of the quarterbacks now, even Daniel Jones, I mean, he had to play catch up, but 29 for 40, 281, and he ran for 3 yards on the ground. So the quarterback, I guess, view is a little bit different than I thought it would be, considering all these young phenoms. Because, again, as quarterback heavy as the drafts are these days, to me, I think it's fascinating that their input and their ability to actually be playmakers is honestly just game managers for the most part. And I don't think we're talking enough about the amount of yards that they're throwing for. And I know Baker threw for a good bit, if I'm not mistaken, week 1.
There are those big games.
Andy Dalton's had it. But for the most part, all quarterbacks are hovering around 250 to 280 through the air. So fascinating.
Yeah, and you say, there's not a ton of quarterbacks who just completely stand out every single time they play the game. You can point to those certain ones.
You can point to them,
Patrick Mahomes,
you
can love
his.
him or hate him, but he's going to get his.
He's also the most senior guy right now. Well, the most senior playmaker.
Yeah, and we can see, we've had endless discussions about Josh Allen, but there is no denying the fact that Josh Allen looks just more refined this year to start the year. And I don't know if you give Joe Brady credit for that, his offensive coordinator, in terms of just also evening things out for him with the run game this year with Cook there. Maybe that continues to maybe take a little bit of pressure off of Allen, because Allen hasn't thrown for an interception yet this season through 3 games. That's like mind-blowing for Josh Allen.
Probably because he doesn't have to force it to Stephon Diggs.
Absolutely.
There's that part of it. But
I know. I heard his comments after the game, which seemed like a little bit of a side eye.
A little petty. Yeah, that's what it was. He can be that way because he's not his anymore, right?
Sure.
But, case in point, I guess I was wrong. Patrick Mahomes also. First week against the Ravens, 20 for 28, 291. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Week 2 against the Bengals, 18 for 25, 151.
Wow.
2 touchdowns, okay? And then last week against the Falcons, he was 26 for 39. 39 passing attempts, and he amassed 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So I think it actually almost puts a little bit more pressure on Will Levis to just efficiently play quarterback.
I think so.
You got a star in Patrick Mahomes that we know can get 400 or 500 yards a game if wanted to. And he's getting 291 as his season high right now.
Exactly. And look, there's those guys that have, like you said, Patrick Mahomes. You've got these guys that even have some turnovers, but not 7. And that's where we need to dial back with Will Levis.
So that's the issue right there. Yeah. Okay. It's his turnovers.
Exactly.
Okay.
Coming up on Ramon, Kayla, and Will this morning, we've got Brent Hubbs of VolQuest. We've got the VOTT in Hour 3, Mike Keith talking Titans with us. And then we break down in Hour 4 the Titans defense. How do they get back to form, finding what they did in those first 2 games? We also invite you into the conversation, 615-737-1045. We'd love to hear from all of you this morning on a fine Friday. But coming up next, the major matchups for week 5 of the college football season. Excited to dig into some of that. What's your favorite one coming up this weekend? You can give us a call, 615-737-1045. It's RK Dub on 1045, The Zone.
If you want an engagement ring that she will be proud to wear, there's only one place to go, and that's Genesis Diamonds. Genesis has cornered the market on all the world-class designers. These New York and Los Angeles-based designers are the best of the best. Every store wants them, but few make the cut. Genesis made the cut and has all the luxury brands, all the ones women are asking for. So don't settle. Get her a ring of her dreams at Genesis. And don't think you'll pay more also. Genesis has complete, ready-to-wear designer rings as low as $1,900. And of course, no jeweler can beat the price of Genesis diamonds. Whether you want a natural diamond or a lab-grown diamond, Genesis has the guaranteed best prices and the highest quality. And only Genesis will give you a 120% diamond upgrade guarantee plus free service for life. All of this with no commission salespeople. No pressure at all ever to buy. Nobody delivers for you like Genesis does when it comes to quality, value, selection, warranties, or customer care. Get the deal you deserve on your diamond at Genesis Diamonds. And now with an expanded selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. All the hard-to-find models too. So check them out. Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
I love living in Middle Tennessee. We've got great restaurants, entertainment, sports, and one of the nation's top Ford dealers right here in our backyard. Two Rivers Ford. Remember that name. Two Rivers has been a staple in our community since 1983. They're locally owned. They have a non-commissioned sales team, and they sell below MSRP. They've been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
That album, by the way, by Jay-Z.
Black Album.
Acts, it just slaps, doesn't it?
I think that was my first introduction to Jay.
It's probably my
favorite. Because he called himself retiring at that moment. I was like, let me hear this album. The Black Album is by far one of the best albums that I can go to from front to end and just let ride. Let it ride.
Welcome back into RKW. We're riding this morning. Riding into the 6:20 hour and talking a little college football. We'll talk Titans today. We'll talk to Brent Hubbs about the Vols as they are off this weekend. But we've got plenty of interesting top 25 matchups going on. We spoke a little bit about this yesterday with our friend George Foster, of course, your good friend, former offensive lineman at Georgia. We've got a big game with number 2 Georgia and number 4 Alabama coming up. And it's also interesting when you look at Georgia's head coach, Kirby Smart, obviously a former Saban protege. And he's going down there with not Saban this time, but Kalen DeBoer at the helm of the Crimson Tide. And he is just 1-5, Ramon, against Alabama.
Yeah, no, it's called Nick. Okay?
Yeah.
It's called Nick.
The Nick effect?
Saban is what it was. Coach Saban had a stronghold on college football in general and truthfully was the face of it. If there ever was a face of college football, it was him. He was the standard. And when you win the way he did, when you put guys in the NFL the way he did, and Alabama still is, those are the results. So you're going to get the best athletes. And you know, if his method of coaching as far as discipline, I think that's the biggest thing for a guy like Coach Saban was his ability to have discipline on a team of bunch of, I hate using this term often, but alpha young males in a sense. Like you'll get the 5 stars, the best of the best, and you get them to conform to what you want them to do. And it showed because they won. And now it's somewhat broken up because he's gone out of the sport and NIL is a part of, those reason. 5 stars are going to other ways or to other destinations. So right now, I think this game is more crucial to Kirby as far as him being the new face of college football, in my opinion.
Okay, and that makes sense, right? He's the next kind of one up.
He's the next one up as far as I'm concerned. I think you have him, Kirby Smart. I think you have Kalen DeBoer because he's inherited Alabama. I think you have Sarkisian at Texas. And
How about Day?
Ryan Day.
It's hard, isn't it? Sometimes. Why do we question this all the time? This shouldn't even be a question, but we do.
Conference. conference. And I know they got Penn State, Wisconsin's not ranked though. They got Michigan, who just won it all, and a couple other schools too that they'll see over the course of it. But I think it is the conference on who they play. You know, in the SEC now, you got to play Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, Florida. You got a bunch of more competitive schools in a sense, is what I'd say. It's the only knock is with Ohio State and Michigan, in my opinion. You let me know if I'm wrong because you've worked in that area. The biggest game that weighs a lot is Ohio State and Michigan. Like, you can throw Penn State in there.
Penn State's always there, but they don't get over the hump.
They don't get over the hump. Wisconsin's around the conversations, but they don't get over the hump. The biggest game that they have is, of course, Michigan, Ohio State.
And guess who's dominated that the past 3 years? Guess who's dominated that?
Michigan has.
Boom.
Yes. So that's why I think Ryan Day is not in that position yet. And, of course, their games they've stretched them out towards the end of the game, but they've played close to a couple of teams like Akron that
they always do this to start the season.
That's why I couldn't pick them this weekend as far as them covering 23.5 points.
Yeah.
We'll see what that looks like. By the way,
did you bet on that on the Thursday 3? I can't remember.
I did not.
Oh, okay.
No,
did you win
not.
last night?
You doggone right.
Army,
Kayla. Ask that question again,
and Temple.
Kayla.
Did you win last night? I was thinking about this. I kept seeing score updates. I'm like, he's rolling.
I'm coming for Bert's record. Ooh, is what I'm telling you. That
did you hear that?
Get your
He's
stuff
coming
together.
for you on Thursday 3.
Get your stuff together.
You need to worry about stacking weeks together before you worry about records. How about you walk before you run?
Well, because I might be doing that on the treadmill thing because we've made that bet now. I am now going in a way different direction from last year, and that treadmill is in my future, I think.
It is in your future, Kayla.
Shoot.
That's all I'm telling you. And the one that probably needs it the most, me, is probably going to end up winning this thing. I might just do it with you regardless. But what I'm telling you is, Bert, I'm on your heels, okay? I'm 1-0 for the weekend already, and I told y'all I was starting fast on Thursday 3 with the Army pick.
Now what happens when we come in Monday and you 1-2?
Hey, don't steal my shine.
That's why I don't talk. I don't say nothing.
Bert just keeps it quiet until it's actually time.
Right. If it's time to talk, then we can talk.
Mm-hmm.
You're a humble winner. That's all it is, man. Don't act like that's not your style.
Because he won last year, too. He took it all last year.
Well, I also took Temple to cover last night, so I'm a little upset about that. Not in our Thursday 3, but it just in my own standard pocket.
You should.
Well, I'm sorry about your loss.
You should have listened to me. Yeah, whatever. Talk some more football, big football guy.
All right, I'm
so
back.
you did, though. However, I think you bet on the Alabama-Georgia game for one of your Thursday 3s.
Nah, I don't know if I had
didn't that either?
Georgia.
Okay.
No, because I didn't know how to trust that
I
one.
spoke to you earlier this week. You have a feeling that Alabama is going to be able to hold it down at home with quarterback Jalen Milroe facing the number 1 pass defense in Georgia. Why is Milroe capable of leading the Tide to this type of what would be technically an upset?
It's management for him. If they get their defensive lineman back this week, I think that helps out a good bit. We've spoken about them as I pull up my notes real quick. Kayla, why is my ID
Pull those notes up.
Right now?
Milroe has, by the way, passed for 590 yards and 8 TDs without an interception for the Tide this season. That's the 3rd rated passer in the FBS. So he has started off really well under Kalen DePore.
He has, and their offensive line is coming together too. And this is where Bama and Georgia both will be tested in a lot of different ways. And Georgia getting back Michael Williams and Warren Brinson are the 2 defensive linemen. And George Foster spoke about them yesterday too.
I did.
And hearing him speak about them lets me know how important they are to that Georgia defense. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing about Jalen Milroe as it pertains to this game. He's doing exactly what the NFL quarterbacks are doing that we spoke about a second ago. It ain't crushing it through the air as far as yards. His ability to move the chains with his legs is what Georgia's got to be able to box in.
Sure.
And playing at home and knowing what Bama brings to each game as far as physicality, being able to take the top off the defense with Ryan Williams. Mm-hmm. We're speaking about a true
17-year-old, by the way.
I know,
He's
by
17.
the way, every time we hear that this weekend, we take a shot. It's all I'm saying.
Perfect. Of that nanner?
No, the nanner. Yes, I'll do that. Yes. The nanner. Of the nanner rum is what we're going to do.
You need to go shop at Nanner Republic.
Yes.
Nanner Republic.
Only for the sales, though.
Yeah,
That's
right. Only the sales.
I've never shopped at Banana Republic.
You'd actually...
That's
I
my
feel
style.
like it.
But they don't make it for dudes my size. That's the
What
issue.
do you mean? I'm your size. I'm beanbag shaped.
No,
Come on, man.
I mean, but you also like 6'2". You know what I'm saying? Like they don't.
I appreciate that. I am
He gave him
5'11" and
6'2", huh?
7/8. I am a
Look
short.
at Moan sucking up to you this
I'm a
morning.
short boy, man. I don't know what to
Ain't
say
no
about it.
short boy,
He's
man.
a short king.
Yeah, short king.
All us short kings out here, 5'11" and 11/12. Keep pumping it up.
Yeah.
With the right shoes on, you
I'm
6
telling you,
foot.
give me some lifts, man. Give me some
Platforms.
lifts. It'll be a game changer.
But the reason I feel like Bama has the edge is because of the mobile quarterback.
Okay.
I do think Bama's defense is capable of getting after Carson Beck.
And that's the thing. Carson Beck, it's
Yeah.
not like he's shabby. 16-1 as a starting quarterback,
Yeah.
6-1 against top 20 teams. But there's something about Carson Beck I'm not fully convinced.
Same.
Is that me or is okay?
And it's because, and it's right or wrong, he's doing what his coaches are asking him to. With these college coaches, I mean, they build up teams so strong with skill players and defense that the quarterbacks get put on the back burner for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be a little bit of, hey, watch me win a few games for you. Because, again, looking at him play against Kentucky, right? When it was good on good for Georgia and Kentucky, where was he to, like, push them over the hump? That's why I think I side-eye what a Carson Beck is. And big moments, I need for him to show his teeth as far as like, yeah, I'm not just a bulldog. Like, I got an actual bite to it. And I think that's the issue. It's the same way I think a good bit of us will question for years Alabama's quarterbacks, right? The ones that was before Tua and Jalen Hurts is just like, well, they just got a good team. They didn't really win it. And that's where I am a little bit with Carson Beck. Now, it's opposite now at Bama because Milroe is a dude that can actually make X plays
And
for
he's
you.
been there for a minute. He's had his moments, but they continue to stick by him, and you're seeing them probably reap the rewards now at this point.
And to get back to my original point, too, from earlier, I think this game is more crucial for Kirby to win, although I think Bama has the edge. Because of the identity side of things. Like I said, with Sarkisian, and I'll even throw, because I got my orange tinted glasses on, Heupel. Where does he go into this conversation? I mean,
once he faces those teams, we'll see, right?
And that's the other side of it, too. Like, he's on the outside walking up to the house. It's a matter of what he do in those games if they let him in or not, right?
Yeah.
Now, not yet as far as Heupel being the face of it, because you got to win and you got to get a natty, right, for years. But the way Texas is built up with Sarkisian, the way Kellen DeBoer inherited everything at Alabama, still crushing it and recruiting, and Kirby, those are my big three. And Ryan Day is an honorable mention.
Yeah.
But he hadn't beaten Ohio. I mean, he hadn't beaten
beat
Michigan. And he got to do it convincingly, too.
Yes.
But of course, what do we do as people who judge folks in the public space? Well, you didn't beat Harbaugh. That's going to be the biggest conversation right there.
It absolutely will, Ramon. Let's move to another one. You have connections to Louisville. Louisville ranked 15th under Jeff Brom this season. They are actually the higher-ranked team going to Notre Dame, which Notre Dame is ranked 16th, but they are the underdogs in this matchup. We talked about Braun. He brings in the nation's highest scoring team, one of them at least, at 47.3 points per game. Their quarterback, very experienced in Tyler Shugg, and receiver Ja'Cory Brooks. He's actually a transfer from Alabama. We talk about how Alabama's kind of downgraded in their receivers, the guys that they're putting into the NFL. Well, this is a guy who's really tearing it up that was at Alabama to start the season. And they're going up against a Notre Dame team who's kind of been a little wishy-washy
they
this
got
season.
punched in the mouth.
Riley Leonard got booed in his first 3 drives against Miami of Ohio last weekend. It did not look good to start that game. I almost want to say this could be a Louisville upset, but I know the defense of Notre Dame does hold strong. I don't think they're going to allow that much scoring to happen for these Cards.
No, I'm actually picking Louisville in this game if I was to pick a game on this one. And it's an emotional tie because my brother played there too.
Yep.
But again, when you have a team in Northern Illinois, whether Notre Dame got caught sleeping at the wheel or not, upset you at your place, that puts you on notice that, hey, it's capable of you getting set up again, okay? I like the fact that Louisville is the underdog in this game. I think it's a trap game for people that bet on this type of stuff, but I believe in what they're pushing out. Again, Louisville really ain't played many folks this year either, right? But what they can do is score. They beat Austin Peay, they beat Jackson State, and they also got Georgia Tech, who upset Florida State earlier this year. The test is there. I think they can handle a game against a Notre Dame. And here's the other side of it, too. Notre Dame gets the benefit of the doubt. I don't think it's a 7-point spread.
I don't
I
either.
would pick against the spread on this one right here if I was betting on that game, just simply because Louisville's not a pushover type of squad.
No, and they actually do play well, at least to start the season. And I know you mentioned they haven't had the greatest opponents, but they have been really stout against the run. So, don't expect for necessarily anything to get going in that side of things for Notre Dame.
No, absolutely not. And Notre Dame's got to right their ship too, is where I'm at with them.
I don't fully believe in Notre Dame. I just can't get on board with it.
Yeah, and they have a big following. They have the big network.
It's tradition.
And they're always going to get the benefit of the doubt when it comes down to the committee and the college football playoffs. That's the part that somewhat gets me. I wouldn't feel as bad about that loss if they were in an actual conference consistently. Like, that's what decision they got to make. Too. But I also wouldn't want to split the money. Like, they're getting a lot of TV money
being raked in there.
-7.
Yep. You're going with Louisville?
I personally do not believe that.
Okay. So are you taking Louisville outright, or are you just taking?
I'm taking the points.
Okay, got it.
Give me the +7 if I was betting on that game right there. Bert, would you take the +7 in that one?
Yeah, after Notre Dame's loss to NIU, like, it just doesn't. They're just not as impressive as they seem to be. And I'm also not a big fan of grabbing ACC quarterbacks who were just kind of impressive.
Sure,
they've done it
Riley Leonard.
Like, they've done it 2 years in a row now. Sam Hartman was fine at Wake Forest, but I don't know if he was like the Notre Dame caliber quarterback.
He just looked good.
Right, exactly.
I mean, there's no denying that.
Definitely. The strongest jaw in college football last year.
It's like they all get those quarterbacks. Brady Quinn was there. Like, what is it? Do they just draft, like, you have to be jawline? They measure the jawline and stuff.
Good hair.
Yeah, good hair. That is a thing. That's kind of weird now that I'm thinking about it.
I'm here for it, Kayla, 100%.
Moving on to our final big matchup of the weekend. And, of course, there are a lot more, but these are the ones that stood out to me that were top 25 matchups. And, of course, give us a call if you have one that you're looking forward to, 615-737-1045. We've got number 19, Illinois at Penn State. Number 9, Penn State. We've talked about Penn State. They kind of are always just there.
They're
floating around, but they can never reach the top.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, in this game in particular, the only thing that worries me for Illinois is I think they've got a really good team. Quarterback Luke Altmaier has been really good. He's been efficient. 71.2% of his passes for 862 yards, 10 TDs, no interceptions. Had that great win last weekend. But it's almost like you can ride the high of a win like that, and then you're going to go to a place like Penn State where the atmosphere is unfreaking real. I don't think it will be what they're saying at, I think Penn State's -17.5 in this game. I don't think it's going to be like that, but I do see Penn State probably holding down this game.
I'm banking on Pat Bryant, wide receiver for the Illini.
Okay.
For this reason right here. Kids from a Florida kid going to Illinois. Okay, he's a senior. So far this year, he's got 20 receptions for 309 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Sure.
He can get the ball at 6'3" also. Here's the other thing behind Penn State. I'll say more recently, their cornerbacks have been very grabby as far as the way they defend. And if you got a guy that's already eating up yards right now and has got 6 touchdowns through 3 or 4 games on the season, I'm willing to back that there's no way this is a 17-point spread that they win by. Now,
I think that's ridiculous.
That is quite ridiculous.
That's why I put it in my Thursday 3.
Looking at it right now, so I'm banking on that and the fact that Illinois is more than I think Penn State's realizing. And again, we were at the Chicago game this past year, and their fan base is I'm talking about lit.
You're talking about Illinois? Are you serious?
Indeed. We were wondering, like, why is all this freaking yelling going on?
I would have never known that.
And they were all over this. They were all over the fact that they're just fans.
Dang. Okay, good
and
for
I didn't
them.
realize it like that. And it was the Kansas game, which they won and upset Kansas in that game too. So I would pick money line. No. I'd take the points if I was a line also.
One more thing on that too. I just don't. What scares me about Penn State is they have not been tested this year.
Yeah.
West Virginia, Bowling Green, Kent State. I'm sorry. This is a big game. I think it's the first bigger team that they have faced. So I think the testing thing is crazy now. You're going to have this for the first time this season.
And also, Illinois' starting quarterback, Luke Altmaier, 862 yards on the season.
Yeah, he's a stud.
10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
He's a complete stud.
But what's his jaw look like?
Well, he plays at Illinois, so
he's
probably
got a
not
5 o'clock
great.
shout. He's from Starkville, Mississippi, so the boy from the South.
So he's got a slack jaw.
He got slack.
There we go.
Yeah, I got a big Adam's apple. How about that? Does that work?
That works.
It works.
So coming up next on RKW, it is a time to say goodbye. Time to say goodbye to a organization in a city that has pretty much lost every professional sports team. We'll let you know what and who that is coming up next on RKW. It's 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Will Bowling. To all my facility managers out there, how are your electrical fixtures doing? Do you have a flickering light or two? Maybe you got power outlets that are inconsistent. Some days it's working, some days it's not. Or maybe you're just looking to install a generator to be prepared for the next big storm here in Middle Tennessee. And we know some of those are on the way. Well, no matter your electrical problem, the team at Lee Company is here to help. For over 80 years, their expert electricians have been here to make your life easier, keep your place of business running efficiently. They are a facility manager's best friend. And available 24/7, 365. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000. That's a great resource when you say someone's available 24/7, 365. Electrical problems always seem to pop up at the worst possible time. Lee Company, they will be there for you at a moment's notice. You can contact them online at leecompany.com. Professional electricians for any type of facility. That's Lee Company, all you need.
Welcome back to RKW on this rainy Friday. Be careful as you're driving into work today or wherever you're going. Just take a little bit time to get to your destinations. We'll get you there safely, though. We're talking about getting to destinations. Well, there is one team that is leaving their original destination. Oh, man. We're talking about the Oakland A's. They already lost their football team when the Oakland Raiders went to Vegas. The Oakland A's announced a deal to move to Las Vegas in April of 2023. And they are parting ways, and their last game happened yesterday in a sold-out Oakland Stadium. Listen to this, Ramon. The crowd was crazy, I guess. Very festive mood there inside the stadium. The parking lot scheduled to open at 8 a.m., more than 4.5 hours before first pitch. I guess they had to open at 7 a.m. because there's a line of cars waiting to get into the stadium.
Wow.
Traffic was so backed up on I-880. So it was something they wish they would have had their whole entire time that they were in Oakland was a packed stadium, because that probably never happened, at least later on in the franchise's history. They got the 3-2 win over the Texas Rangers, but I actually am going to say this. I was a little sad. I'm a little sad for just Oakland fans in general, just losing all of their teams.
They have, and whether I'm not sure what their city government is like, and what the attraction is to stay in Oakland or in the Oakland area. But that is kind of sad to see an iconic team like this who's won World Series. I know the last one into like the 80s or whatever, but an iconic brand, and a city, honestly, right now that's just being ripped as far as its pro teams and stuff like that. Like, I don't think people realize how much business pro teams bring to a city. So to see Oakland kind of lose another team, and honestly, whether they fought for it or they could get the funding or not, this is a bad look for them, man. And it just sucks for that city too, because I'll say this too. I think San Diego should still have an NFL team too.
Yeah, they're down to, they've got some soccer, but they've got just the Padres there.
I think sometimes there's a good fight to be had to keep your pro teams around if you possibly can.
And it's hard sometimes. Like when we lost the Supersonics, who I think we're all hoping we're going to get back, that was, a lot of it was really out of our hands in terms of fans.
Okay.
But it forever has haunted that city and our state, just not to have that team.
And here's the other thing too, is you got to also win games.
You do.
Like you have to put a good product on the field or the on the baseball field, and they have struggled as of late. But it was kind of cool seeing fans take chairs out of the doggone stadium.
I would have.
I saw somebody that they were filling up sand and putting it in plastic bottles and giving it to like it was kids.
The
groundskeeper was putting sand into bottles and giving it to fans and stuff like that, as far as like little memorabilia. But another one bites the dust. Vegas is coming for everything.
Vegas is eating everything up. And the thing I got to say about it, look, kind of annoys me. It always has with a place like that, but they're making it work. Like you're talking about the Golden Knights. That's not a hockey city, guys.
No,
but they get the Golden Knights. Yeah, they've had success. They fill that stadium. You look at the Raiders there now. That stadium, I feel like that's always filled up. You have a lot of Raiders fans everywhere, so it helps. But one thing that I think Oakland, maybe their fans can take a short drive up to Sacramento, because they are going to play in Sacramento for the next 3 to 4 years.
It's not that long of a drive.
Yeah, my bro lives up there, and that's not really a far distance. So maybe they can at least enjoy the next 3 to 4 years, having them still close before they officially move into the new stadium while they're building it. So
yeah, I know LA isn't far from Vegas as far as a flight and drive. I'm not sure about Oakland. If Oakland is
Oakland, I mean, California's so long. Yeah, Bert's shaking his head back there. Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
It's longer than you would think. You're like, oh, that's just a hop down the road.
No, it's not. Okay, all right, yeah. That was, I guess, the other thing. If they really are fans, and I mean, they can fly in and fly out potentially. I mean, I'm sure an airline is giving straight flights out of California to Vegas often.
The number of sports that Vegas has added professional teams for, not just like the big three of basketball, football, baseball, but I don't know if you guys know this, they have a professional lacrosse team, a professional indoor football team, professional roller derby team, professional volleyball team, professional ice hockey team. They all within the last like 5 years they've added this, and lacrosse is actually pretty big there. They average like 6,000 people.
You're kidding.
I'm not joking. I looked it up because when we went to go visit, we would pass arenas and they would be like, "Oh, so and so's Las Vegas Desert Dogs are here," and I was like, "Oh, I could really go for a hot dog." And they're like, "No, that's the lacrosse team."
Yeah.
So it's just crazy how many they're able to support. And
It really is.
Put fans in there to watch that stuff.
They also have AAA baseball there.
They have
which
AAA
I think they
also?
might keep it.
The Aviators.
The Aviators, yeah.
The real question is, when do they play? Because Vegas is hot. So are they putting them in a dome? Usually hot cities like Arizona, right? Like they play in domes. Like I know like minor leagues get kind of pushed over a little bit, but you can't make them play in that Vegas heat, I would hope.
That's interesting. I've never looked up where they've actually played, like if it's closed. And I haven't gone into the arena of what it looks like.
Yeah.
I would please pray that is a closed dome, like you said, the Diamondbacks.
Well, you ain't got to worry about good weather then. I mean, it's going to be hot, right?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Coming up as we reach hour 2 of RKW, we're talking a little bit of Titans. Let's pivot into our local team. They are getting ready for a Monday Night Football matchup against the Miami Dolphins. And the stat I am going to give you is going to put you in a real good mood this morning as you're talking about the Titans. We need that kind of move. That's coming up next on RKW here on 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Kayla Anderson with my friends at FanDuel. The NFL season is flying by, but you still have plenty of time to start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's going to be guaranteed, and then all you have to do is place your first $5 bet. That's right. Just pull out your wallet, pull out $5, and you can make your bet. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans and the Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football. How about a single game prop? Do you believe in Will Levis in terms of bouncing back on Monday night? He did it last year. You can get him for an anytime touchdown. Also, how about rushing yards? Let's go with the over, maybe with Tony Pollard looking to bounce back from last week. And DeAndre Hopkins, he's back in the mix. Maybe you take him in over passing yards on Monday Night Football. All you got to do, visit FanDuel.com/Kayla. That's FanDuel.com/KAYLA to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years and older and present in Tennessee to bet. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. What was that?
What's going on? 7:03. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Robert Walsh. Thursday night football was a penalty palooza as the Cowboys take down the Giants 20-15. Malik Neighbors continuing to impress with a 12-catch, 115-yard performance, but not enough as the Giants fall to 1-3. Dallas gets to 500 at 2-2. Titans with their first injury report of the week as they prepare to head off to Miami. Jeffrey Simmons did not practice with an elbow injury. L'Jarius Sneed and DeAndre Hopkins with veteran rest days off. Amani Hooker was limited with a face injury. On the Miami side, they were without left tackle Teron Armstead, cornerback Kendall Fuller, defensive lineman Calais Campbell, and former Titan linebacker David Long. All did not practice. Skylar Thompson was limited with a chest injury. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Rolling into hour 2 this morning on RKW, Ramon, Kayla, and Will, alongside our 11-year NFL veteran. We've got Ramon Foster, Robert Walsh behind the glass, making the show happen. I'm Kayla Anderson. Will bowling out for this Friday, and we're holding it down because it is definitely a dreary, rainy morning. And so first and foremost, drive safely. Wherever you're getting to, give yourself some extra time because the water is definitely piling up out there. How's everybody feeling on this Friday?
We're doing good.
We still got the vibes, even though the rain is out. It's almost a different vibe when rain happens. We needed it here.
It.
So
I'll be honest, I love it. Other than just driving in there like that too, like it's daylight driving. Daytime driving in the rain, I'm okay with. It's
the night or
yeah. We were speaking about the misting earlier, but y'all be safe out there, man. Don't be in a hurry. Give yourself extra time to get where you're going. Also, we looked up the AAA team's baseball stadium. Oh my gosh,
we were looking
Vegas.
up all of these stadiums in Vegas.
Yes,
they're like ridiculously nice, all like up to date. The AAA one, the Oakland A's stadium to be is insane.
Yeah, it is, and the AAA team has a pool. Yeah, they have an actual pool at the stadium too for a AAA team.
I just want to go now to go to all these
that
places.
Was awesome. Yeah, Well, I've only done a couple minor league teams, so I'll
maybe
pass
you need
to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying if I'm in Vegas, which I hadn't gone to in a while.
Maybe
that's
stop
a
by
stop.
there.
Yeah, we'll stop by.
Yeah.
We got to get a sponsored trip out there.
I would
love
3HL
that.
did. Can we try?
Right.
Yeah.
We got to hit.
Let's work on that.
VSIN up. Get over there.
Exactly. I mean, they're partying at 3 a.m. though there, so why not? We could do something where we're literally in the heart of a party, just doing a show live.
Might as well.
They're up till
as long as
that
it's
early.
not a sports book, I can't go in there.
Exactly. We'll
Yeah,
see. We got
because of job conflicts.
We got to go to somewhere else.
We can do anything else though. Bert, you into it?
Oh, dude! Look at me. Look at how I sound.
Yes.
Listen to the sound of my voice. I love Vegas.
Yep.
I love Vegas.
Oh, dude,
Vegas, if you're listening.
If you hadn't been to Circa, which is where 3HL stayed at, Circa is my favorite
Is
place
that
to
old
stay.
Vegas or Strip Vegas?
That is old Vegas, but it is the newest hotel in old Vegas. So they have the stadium swim, the rooftop swimming pool with the giant TV screen. Very cool, very cool. Swim up blackjack tables. I wouldn't leave.
Blackjack
if it wasn't for Cheyenne, I would not be here. I would be in Vegas blowing all of my money, being a panhandler.
There's money to be made on panhandlers.
I'm telling you, and people leave them tickets sitting all around. It's like, 28 cents. I don't want that. Bert does.
Yeah.
Bert wants it.
Bert will take it. And maybe that's what right now the Titans, if you're betting on them, that's what it's going for. It's, hasn't been an opening time to the schedule that's been great for fans. The Titans, though, I'm going to give you a great record on Monday Night Football that fans can get excited about. Because, so overall, the Titans are 26-19 all time. That's on Monday Night Football.
Wow.
That includes 9 wins in their past 12 appearances. And here it comes. against the Dolphins, they are 3-0 in Monday night games.
You know what you just did, right?
I'm not saying I jinxed this. I'm not taking accountability. If this stat is out for me to get, I am going to bring it to the people to make them feel good on a Friday.
Yeah.
To give them some hope that they're going to get their first win of the season.
It's Feel Good Fridays is what we got.
Feel Good Friday.
Kayla, you just dropped one of those, hey, he hasn't missed a kick all game moments right there, dog. Okay, well, I'm here for it. If the Dolphins are your duck, then so be it. I'm here for it. I witnessed the last one down there, and the Titans seem to have a stronghold on it. AJ in the chat just said, you just jinxed us.
I know. Funny people are so funny when it comes to that. Either people love that I give the stat, or they're like, you just jinxed us. But you know what? It is what it is. It's there for the sharing, so I thought I would share it with people this morning.
It is.
You know?
I appreciate that. No, don't take it personal.
Put you in a good mood.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you about this after we hear from Calvin Ridley, but we talked to Calvin Ridley yesterday and spoke with him about what it is about playing on Monday Night Football and what this would do for this team in terms of getting a win. Here's Calvin Ridley in the locker room.
Monday Night Football, obviously, I mean, all the cameras on us. If you get that real NFL atmosphere, then you can really, like, the young guys I was trying to explain to a couple of them, you're going to see, like, you know, obviously our games were, you know, really good, but the Monday night, the Sunday night, and the Thursday will show you, like, the cameras come out, the people come out, everyone's watching. You'll say, like, all right, this is the NFL. I done made it now. But what was the next question? Sorry?
Just what, in terms of being back on track, you know, in a game like that especially.
Yeah, I mean, we need a win. I think a win will help us, just feel good. Anybody, settle us down a little bit. We need to get a win. And getting it on Monday Night Football when everyone's watching against the Miami Dolphins, a pretty good team. That'll just, you know, slingshot us into who knows what. We just need a win.
Slingshot us.
Yeah.
They definitely need, you know, something to get that locker room back into some cohesiveness. A win, how much can it do? You know, especially when you're one of the only highlighted teams on a night like that. Does it give you some extra, I hate using momentum, but just some juice behind it?
It does. It gives you a method of knowing how to win games. Like the whole crux of like playing sports, games, checkers, chess is to win, right? If you have absolutely no way of knowing how to win, having that being that you haven't gotten one yet, Kayla, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's of the mindset that, look, if we get a win on Monday Night Football in front of the world, right, in Miami, then that changes everything about what we got. We know what it takes to actually win. And a lot of teams, you know, the teams that are over right now, I'm sure this is the same conversation that they're having. We just got to win. And it's so cliche to say. It's so like broken record at this point. But that's essentially what you're looking for. You're looking for, you got a coach, man, and Coach Brian Callahan that has won games before too. You got this franchise that has won games too. And you got a bunch of guys like a L'Jarius Sneed that's probably figuring out, asking himself,
coming from a Super Bowl winning team,
what the heck are we doing? And Kayla, like, seriously, it is a very fine line on like winning and losing. I think the first few weeks has been turnovers. I think the first 2 weeks has been figuring out, you know, what's the identity. When you don't win games, you're stuck on trying to figure out what's our identity. Like people have personal issues with that. Like, who am I as a person? Imagine having 53 dudes on a team that is asking, what are we as a team? How do we win? And he ended up bringing up, Calvin really ended up bringing up other things as far as like how important and big this game is. It's Monday Night Football. It's all the lights on. It's all the big A personalities that are on TV is there. So, yes, if you get a win in front of these folks, one, they got to talk about you.
Yep.
And then it also brings confidence to you as a team.
Especially going into the bye week.
Now you got something to sleep on.
Yep.
Like this will be, 14 days of hangover if you lose this game going into the bye week.
Nobody wants that.
No, nobody wants that.
Real quick, let's get to Alex before we head to break. Alex, you're on with us, and you're going to yell at me because you think I jinx you. If you believe in that kind of stuff, then just to each is your own. To each is your own.
Even Ramon said it. Why bring the gods down on us? Karma. Why say something like that?
I'm blessing them.
Get it.
I know you're from Seattle and you love rain.
I'm not from Seattle. I'm from Spokane.
Okay, well, whatever. Does the rain affect your brain?
No, because it doesn't rain like that in Spokane. So, no, rain does not affect my brain. We'll see. And you'll be calling me in if they win. And then I want you to thank me if that happens.
Yeah.
It don't sit right with you, Alex.
25 PATs, and the guy misses the next one. Come on.
I know, Alex. We're going to work through it. We got a few days.
Sleep on that, Alex.
We got a few
Thanks
days
for
until
calling
we got
this
to
morning.
see it. Alex wasn't okay.
I'm just telling you, if this stat continues, I would like Alex to call in and apologize to me. Thank you. And I will take all the credit in the world for bringing a jinx if it happens that way. I take full accountability.
Okay.
I'm not going to back down from stuff.
I know you're not going to back down.
And I'm not from Seattle. That's the pro teams that we support. I'm from Spokane. Spokane does not rain like that.
How far is Spokane away
5
from
hours.
Seattle?
It's on the eastern side.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they just correlated Washington and just
because those are where our pro teams are.
Okay.
So
I just
appreciate
saw
you calling
something
in,
on
though.
Spokane the other day too.
Gonzaga.
Yeah.
That's where home
Is
of
that
Gonzaga.
where Spokane? Gonzaga's close to
People
Spokane?
know that, so they'll just say that.
I would have said Seattle too. So
that's okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
I get it. Coming up next on RKW, we're going to pivot. We'll talk a little more Titans throughout the show, but let's get to the Tennessee Volunteers. Undefeated. They're looking real good. They might not play this weekend, but there's always plenty of news to get to. We'll talk with our good friend Brent Hubbs of VolQuest. That's coming up next on RKW 104.5 The Zone.
Prince's Hot Chicken, the original hot chicken. They know a thing or two about hot, so they're bringing you the hottest moments from RKW throughout the week in a segment I like to call Prince's Hot Mic. But what I'm thinking for you, Moan, is being an exotic pet guy. You could have a snake, a bearded lizard, maybe like a macaw.
It's about to be Ramon and Kayla. If you got a snake, I would be out.
Snake.
The next thing I'm getting is going to be in a bowl, and it's called a fish, okay?
There you go.
That's my mindset. A fish bowl.
Just hope Zeus
Let me
doesn't.
know, man.
I saw a fish. Speaking of that, I saw a fish on the internet that was a $20,000 like little.
Oh, yeah.
Of course you did.
No.
What is it, Gucci
And we're
or
back.
Prada?
Hot Mike's Hot Chicken, Prince's knows hot. Prince's Hot Chicken, the original hot chicken.
It is the greatest time of the year again. Football is officially back. Kickoff is here. I'm having a blast on Underdog Fantasy this football season. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got into the game last year by competing on Underdog. You can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats. That can be touchdowns. That can be passing yards. That can be receiving yards. I'm taking a look at Tajay Spears as the Titans take on the Dolphins this upcoming Monday. 42.5. His stats on rushing plus receiving yards. I'm going higher than that for the Titans this Monday. Making picks on Underdog, it is straightforward. Signing up is even easier. Just head to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code WILL, W-I-L-L, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash champions entry, plus up to $1,000 of bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code WILL to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Have you ever noticed how many car dealerships there are in the Middle Tennessee area? And they all tell you they have the largest selection and the best prices in town. I'm Liz Allison, and I'm here to tell you how to make your life easier. Head straight to Nissan of Rivergate. They have a great selection of new Nissans and the best service around. I know this because I'm on car 3 from Bob McCracken and his team at Nissan of Rivergate. Cut out the dealership hopping and make Nissan of Rivergate your only stop. Nissan of Rivergate, 1550 Gallatin Pike North in Madison. NissanofRivergate.com. I'm Liz Allison. If there's anything that I don't like, it's not having enough hot water. That was me way too often until I switched to a State brand tankless water heater. Not only do I never run out of hot water, but I'm saving on my utility bill every month. State Water Heaters makes gas and electric, standard efficiency to high efficiency water heaters, and of course, my personal favorite, tankless water heaters, where the hot water never runs out. Visit statewaterheaters.com and click on the Find a Local Installer link on the main page, and you'll be on your way to owning your very own State brand water heater, just like me.
Welcome back into RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. And every Friday at 7:20, we are joined by our good friend of VolQuest, Brent Hubbs. Brent Hubbs brought to you by Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. Look at that, Brent. Sponsor and all as we bring you in on this beautiful Friday morning. How are you?
He big time. He big time. That's all it is, right. Kayla.
There he is. Now we can hear you. Brent, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Hope you guys are staying dry and doing well this morning.
We are. We certainly are. Coming off such a great weekend for Tennessee Vols fans. Just paint the picture of what it's been like in Knoxville after that win over Oklahoma as they continue to kind of make people believers.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you have some people who are bothered by the fact that Tennessee went conservative offensively and some of that stuff. But I think as the week has progressed, that you settle in and everybody realizes this team is exactly where most expected them to be, certainly hope to be, and that this team can win in a variety of different styles and do a variety of different things. And the question is, can they continue to grow in the offensive line and protect the quarterback? And can they continue to play at the level of intensity and effort that they played at through 4 games? And that's defensively, that's the biggest thing that stood out is just how hard they play and the effort that they play with on that side of the ball.
And that's what's expected. And I know reading your War Room this week, and you can clearly, if you subscribe, head to VolQuest and read Brent Hubb's War Room. It's excellent information. You had spoke about just getting back to practice, and Rodney Gardner, the defensive line coach, expects a really, heated practice, and that it was not because he was unhappy with the group, but they're just expected to get to another level, right?
Yeah, I mean, he likes a lot of what they're doing, but I mean, by far not close to a finished product on the defensive line, and that was made very clear to his defensive linemen when they went to the practice field on Tuesday. And we all know Coach Gardner's an old school guy. I mean, none of those guys got a day off during fall camp. There were no rest days for defensive linemen. Everybody scrimmaged. This is the standards and this is how we're going to go. And on Tuesday on the practice field, he went right back to that standard. And that standard was what you did Saturday was fine, but it wasn't good enough. Let's go get better. And that intensity level is something that comes out every day. But Rodney Gardner made sure it was there Tuesday during an open date because there's no time to relax and rest. There's still plenty of work to do.
It has. Hubbs, welcome back, man. 2 weekends in a row I've gotten you on a Friday, man. Look at that.
I'm impressed, man. I'm really impressed. I mean, that's big time for you that you go back-to-back weeks. I mean, are you okay? Are you pacing yourself okay? Are you going to make it?
I even drove in during the rain, man. Look at that. The concept of working, right?
I'm telling you, man, when I think of you, I think of Auto Parts Country Old Man Strong. That's what I think of.
Oh, somebody's been listening, huh?
I listen to the OTP. I understand what's going on in the Foster's world.
Man, Mike Keefe, man. Check out that OTP if y'all hadn't, man, because Hubbs has. With that being said, I think the Vols has some of those car shop strong back dudes, man, this weekend, as Oklahoma has about 8-9 players out, even including the kicker against Auburn, man. How physical of a game was that, Hubbs, against Oklahoma this past weekend? We did see some big hits.
Well, I think for Oklahoma's offense, it was more physical than they even anticipated it being. I think Tennessee was Tennessee's offense was pretty physical. I mean, Dylan Sampson ran hard, but Oklahoma's defense was physical too. I tell you what, Oklahoma's safeties and nickel, those guys, they're good football players. They're better defensively than I thought they would be, but offensively, they don't know what hit them. I mean, Tennessee, there was multiple plays in the first half of that football game where you just looked at Oklahoma players and they were just getting up slower and slower because, they took a pounding. Tennessee plays, and I mean this as a compliment. I don't mean this as any kind of negative. They're violent on defense. They arrive at the football with really bad intentions. Everybody's seen the hit, on the sideline that knocked the receiver out.
Thomas,
but,
man.
Keenan Peely with some violence in the backfield, and Elijah Simmons set the tone on the first play from scrimmage with how he played. They, at all three levels of the defense, the physicality and the violence that they play with is a separator for me with this defense compared to some of the recent defenses we've seen at Tennessee. I'm not ready to call them the 98 defense, Ramon, or even maybe the 2005 defense that was really good. We'll see as it builds over time. But this defense reminds me of the violence that those groups played with because they were violent guys on that side of the ball.
And also for the folks who are listening, the injury report now, because we can get that in the SEC, I'll name them off real quick, Hubbs, and then we'll get back to it. But Jaden Gibson, wide receiver, out. Jalil Farouk, wide receiver, out. Nick Anderson, wide receiver, out. Andrew Anthony, wide receiver, out. Deion Burks, wide receiver, out. Taylor. They got like 5 more guys, including the kicker, out against Auburn this weekend. That is a telltale sign of physicality, man, at its best, and I love it, Hubbs. That's how you win games right there.
Well, it is, and for Oklahoma, that's your welcome to the SEC moment. Because no offense to the Big 12, but in the Big 12 schedule, that would have played a really physical game, and then your next game is against, a middle of the run, lower run Big 12 team.
Yeah.
That They're going to go to Auburn, and Auburn's going to be physical. Not as physical as Tennessee, but the grind of what they're getting into is the difference in this league. That's why it's going to be really interesting to watch Arkansas this week. They just came off a physical game against Auburn.
Yeah.
They're going to play a physical game against Texas A&M, and then they're going to come home and play a physical team in Tennessee. It's a grind. That's why I like where Tennessee's open date set up, because the cumulative effect week to week in this league is different than it is in other leagues, and Oklahoma's getting ready to figure that out this week.
Speaking of that, too, the physicality and expectation is where I would go, because we had Austin Price on earlier this week, and we brought up Lance Hurd. Speaking of physicality, Larry Johnson had to step in. Dane Davis, man, thank God for him for sticking around and being the savvy vet that he is. But where are we at on a guy like Lance Hurd and the decision to not even let him travel? Was it something that could have been avoided, or what's that situation like, Hubs?
Well, I think he's going to be fine for Arkansas. I think he's going to be on the field for Arkansas, which is good. I mean, it was a surprise to all of us, and I think a surprise to people in the building as the week progressed last week that he was not going to. It didn't look like he was going to be able to go, and then on Thursday evening they get to the point where he hasn't done anything all week, and after everybody consults with everybody, it becomes very apparent that he's not going to be able to play. You get your limitations in your dress roster, so you don't travel a guy who's not going to be able to play, because you needed to take another offensive lineman in his place, because you've got to make sure you have all your bases covered with the travel roster, with the limitations of who you can dress and numbers you can dress in an SEC game. So, I think he's going to be healthier. I think he's going to be that. They need to get him well. I think the reality for Tennessee at the tackle position is this, Ramon. They're going to play 3 regularly, okay? And that's not exactly what everybody's looking for, right? I mean, you would like to have your 2 anchors and those guys stay healthy all year long and they play every snap and you move forward. The reality is that John Campbell's not played more than 40 snaps in a game through 4 games. He's been the first offensive lineman off the field. He's not completed a first half of play as he manages through some knee things. So you have to be ready with 3. No one going into the game, you're playing 3 guys, probably 50 snaps or more, 40 snaps or more is what you're going to bowl down with that. So that means now Larry Johnson's got to get, if it's Dane Davis as your 3rd guy, Larry Johnson's got to get ready in a hurry. And then you got to try to push those freshmen to see, in case you get into a really, really difficult spot, you can survive with those 2. But I think you have to understand, we're going to play 3 when we're healthy, quote healthy, at the offensive tackle position. That means Lance Hurd's our anchor at left, and then we're going to platoon on the right side, much like Tennessee did in 22. They had Darnell Wright on the right side. He played every snap, and then they platooned on the left. They got to have those 3 guys ready to go. Dave's got to play better than he did against Oklahoma. They survived. But here's the thing, too. If you can get a starter out there and he plays the whole game and you're platooning on the other side, if you have to help on one side with protection, you can. The problem you got into Saturday night is both sides needed help. Yeah. And that becomes a real challenge for you offensively, because if you only have to help on one side, you can still do some things. But now if you're like, hey, I've got to help the right and the left tackle in pass protection, really changes what you do throwing the football. And in the second half, Tennessee said, you know what? Let's just get out of here. Let's run the football and go home, because we don't think we could protect well enough.
No doubt.
Brent Hubbs of VolQuest joining us this morning on RKW. Brent, I do have to ask you, and we even have people in our F&M Bank chat asking about this. How is the field looking after the Morgan Wallen concert that took place over the weekend? And it's nice because they're going to get an extra weekend to get that all situated.
Well, and kudos to the field guys and the work crews at Tennessee. I mean, what they did was pretty crazy. So the Morgan Wallen people were highly encouraged, let's put it that way, to get all of their stuff out as quickly as they could Monday morning. And when I say their stuff, I mean the plywood that they had down on the field and everything out, completely get it out, so Tennessee could start to work on the turf. The plan was always to remove the turf and put a new field down. The thought process from a scheduling standpoint is they were going to remove the turf on Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, get it prepped for the new side, and start putting the sod down Thursday, Friday, and finish up Saturday morning. That was the schedule they had in place. Then obviously we see what happens with the weather and everything that's going, and the turf company in Charlotte said, hey, our issue is harvesting, removing from the sod farm. We've got to do that before this rain comes, or you're going to be delayed a week before we can get the sod to you. So they ramped it up from a facility standpoint, got the sod cut out on Monday. They started laying sod on Tuesday. They worked until about 1 a.m. Tuesday morning. Then they grinded through Wednesday afternoon and finished up yesterday morning early. And it looks great, and there's no concern about it taking hold. Obviously, it's got tons of rain on it, but they feel great about where it's at. And, I mean, those guys did an unbelievable job. They must have had 40, 50 workers over there on tractors and all the equipment that you need to get that new side laid and sewed in. And it looks good. They should have no trouble being ready to go when Florida comes to town.
We're just going to have Brent Hubbs with our turf update on this Friday. That was excellent.
It was.
That was amazing.
Awesome, I kind of like that stuff, I guess. But there were, and rightfully so. There's a lot of people concerned. I mean, the Oklahoma turf was a real problem.
It was.
And so coming off of that, all the Tennessee fans, a lot of Tennessee fans were really nervous about the timing of getting it down, the rain that was coming, and everything that was happening. And Darren Siebold and his crew, along with Carolina Green, the turf company they use, man, it was impressive to work. They were a daggum machine out there knocking that out. So I don't think anybody's losing sleep over the turf at Tennessee right now.
Good.
Brent Hubbs, known grass lover. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? Hubbs, the NIL and commitments, man, give and they take it away. We snatched one from Oregon, and Oregon said, watch this. Douglas Utu flipped to the Oregon Ducks, man. What went into that process, and will the Vols have a plan to somewhat replace him as a borderline 5-star guard?
Well, I mean, Tennessee's out looking and certainly recruiting some other guys. I mean, listen, when you NIL or no NIL, when you recruit at the level Tennessee's been recruiting at this year with this class, and the teams that you beat out to get those guys, everybody's going to keep coming after your commitments. I mean, Alabama's not letting up on Jaden Harmon, the linebacker from Rome, Georgia. He's going to the Georgia-Alabama game this weekend. Why would you not go to that game if you're a recruit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Tennessee's got to have to fight to the finish line for him. You knew that when he flipped from Alabama to Tennessee. With Utu, I think that there was probably, he wants to play tackle. I think Tennessee was pretty transparent with him that they long-term see him as a better fit at guard, but certainly would have given him an opportunity to play tackle. I think there were some people around him and his circle that maybe liked everything about Tennessee from an NIL all the way through Tennessee better than they did Oregon, and that was an influence on his commitment when he committed. And then I think Oregon came back in and probably enhanced their NIL things and told him he could play tackle, and he's got some teammates and some friends out there that he knows, and I think ultimately he felt more comfortable there. And that's the world we live in recruiting. And listen, I mean, you're going to have to fight to the finish line because when you recruit 4- and 5-star high-level guys and you beat out your rivals in the South for them, or you're beating out somebody on the West Coast and there's still a West Coast school coming out, I mean, it's hard to hang on, and that's what Tennessee's working on doing. And with Douglas, they couldn't do that. I don't think there's a chance he flips back. I think he stays with Oregon, and we'll see where Tennessee goes from that. But this is recruiting in 2024 when you recruit at the level Tennessee's at.
Man.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, Brent, always fascinating stuff. Always good little nuggets that you bring us on Friday. Brent Hubbs, brought to you by Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. Brent Hubbs of VolQuest, we appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys. Ramon, we'll try to go 3 for 3 next Friday, man.
Can't wait, Hubbs.
rest up, hydrate, do all the things you need to do so we can talk next Friday, all right?
I'm going to need it, Hubs. I'm going to be honest with you because I got Miami on Monday night, got to come back early and do the show on Tuesday. I ain't complaining because I signed up for this.
It sounds like you're complaining.
Come on.
Miami. Oh, man, I feel so bad for you.
You've been around Coach Former too long, man. Okay? That is a complaint. That's a complaint.
I mean, I don't think I have to be around a Hall of Fame coach to realize that you sounded like you're complaining.
You know what, Hubs? You know what?
And Kayla is really jealous of you going to Miami.
I am.
Her town. That's her jam right there.
Yeah, that is my jam.
A football schedule doesn't allow much fun, is all I tell you, okay?
It's true.
Yes, indeed, Hubs. I appreciate you playing along with my shenanigans again, man.
All right. You guys have a great rest of the day and enjoy football this weekend.
Yes,
Thanks,
indeed.
you too, Hubs. That is Brent Hubbs, our good friend of VolQuest, always bringing us good stuff on this Friday morning. More to come when we return. Some interesting things that we found out about Kalen DeBoer really being the favorite when it was coming to taking over for Nick Saban. There was a lot of questions why this might debunk some of those that he was the second or third choice. That's coming up next on RKW here on 104.5 The Zone.
Go where the pros go. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. These people are the best people to go to take care of your lawn. Will Bowling here with Trey Hartsook. And Trey, you guys have an awesome plan. You're going to help people with a plan for the entire fall, covering months of work in your lawn. Tell people how they can learn more about this and what exactly you guys do.
Hey, Will, I'll tell you, something that we really like doing here at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply is making it as easy as possible to have that lawn looking top-notch. So what we do, Will, we come in, people tell us, hey, how big of a lawn they have, whether big, small, it doesn't matter. We have the product for you to get you started and get you all the way through the 2024 year, even into spring of 2025. Just come in to Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, ask about the turf plan to keep that lawn looking green throughout the year, because that's what we're after, Will. We're chasing that lush, green fescue lawn 12 months out of the year, and at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, we can do that for you. Stop in and see us. We'd love to talk to you about it. Conveniently located all over Middle Tennessee. Our locations in Nashville, Hendersonville, Murfreesboro, Bellevue, Brentwood Lawnmower, Mount Juliet, and Franklin. If you can't get a hold of us, check us out online, DickensSupply.com.
Welcome back into Ramon, Kayla, and Will on this wonderful Friday in Music City. We've been moving right along here. Great segment by Brent Hubbs. You can always go and re-listen or listen for the first time wherever you find your podcasts. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. That will be up pretty soon on any podcast platform. We've talked a little bit of college football this morning, and I found this interesting. I found this clip. It's a new podcast called The Triple Option. It is hosted by Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, former Alabama running back, and Joe Klatt. And here is an interesting interview with Kalen DeBoer this week on the process of being hired at Alabama, taking over for Nick Saban, because there were a lot of questions as if he were truly the first option. It sounds like he truly was.
It's actually really simple. We had our season. We flew back on Tuesday after the Monday game, and Wednesday, Coach Saban announces his retirement. And late Wednesday night, my agent let me know that Greg Byrne wanted to meet, and it was literally the next day. Wow. They were on a plane up, and so it was that fast. And so no gauging of interest other than, hey, would you be interested in meeting? And that was that Wednesday night. Thursday interviewed, and then Friday got offered the job and accepted it. And Friday night I was here, meeting with the team. So it was fast.
Bravo, Jimmy Sexton.
Wow.
Jimmy Sexton getting major leverage for his clients.
Wow.
Mike Norvell, and Dan Lanning, who had said to have been favorites before Kalen DeBoer. Oh, no, it seems like DeBoer was the guy all along, but Jimmy Sexton, again, making money for his clients, and you know what? That's how business is.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked, though, because I thought really there was more interest in those two others before.
That's the way negotiating go in this coaching carousel, of getting the right one. And, of course, when you're a hot coach like Norvell was at the end of that year, too, I mean, if they'd have had their quarterback, they'd have been in the college football playoff. So there's always that. And when you're Alabama, everybody probably was of the mindset that there's a threat that your guy can leave, for Alabama. Great on Jimmy Sexton and his ability to be a monster agent. If I was there, I wouldn't take no clients other than college football coaches. Like, oh, you're a 5-star quarterback that's going to be a first overall pick? I don't want nothing to do with you.
I'll pass.
Yeah, I get a raise every 2 years considering who my clients are in college football, man. He's got a method, and here's the thing behind it. I think schools know it. Mm-hmm. What can you do about it?
Yeah, you can't. In this day and age, when you're fighting for coaches and leverage at these places.
I mean, especially with Norvell. Yeah. I mean, it made all the sense in the world. You know what I'm saying? And Lanning, too. I mean, you couldn't go wrong. And perception is reality in negotiating sometimes. I need to hire Jimmy Sexton myself. Man.
Let me pose this question, though, Ramon. And I know a lot of it has had to do with the quarterback play of DJ Uiagalelei at Florida State.
Yeah.
Digging themselves in a hole early. Seemed like at some point they were giving up on their team. Now they've since won, a game. But do you feel now looking back at it that Mike Norvell would have been the right fit at Alabama? Because I'm starting to think I don't really know if that would be a good fit.
I mean, I think Norvell's biggest issue is quarterback, not picking the right one this year.
And he would have been given one, an inherited one.
I mean, and yes, that's very true, too. So having to go find a guy that can jumpstart you right back into the national conversation didn't happen with DJU this year. I honestly, if this was his pathway, I'd love to have seen him go to Alabama so I can see them crumble, okay? But that's just my petty Vols popping up right there. With that being said, though, it was the right choice for him to stick where he's at. And I think Bama chasing somebody else's coach like that was from the Southeast, I don't think made any sense. They went outside the box by going to Washington to grab Kalen DeBoer. And the other side of it is you got a mainly offensive-minded guy in DeBoer, if I'm not mistaken. That's his pathway through being able to coach guys and get guys to the other side. So they had to go the opposite direction. Same way the Vols went from Pruitt to an offensive-minded guy.
It's the way of the game.
Like Heupel. Like you don't do the same thing sometimes. So I think it was smart. on Bama to go that direction and
Yeah.
threw everybody off and got other guys paid.
Absolutely. And a real big test this weekend as Georgia comes into town. We'll see how that all plays out. Should be an exciting game on Saturday. We wrap up hour 2. We're already moving into hour 3, and we pivot back to the Tennessee Titans. We got Mike Keith coming up at 8:20. But first, holy smokes, Ramon Foster. It is a big day for the right tackle position. I'm going to explain why. That's coming up next on RKW here on 104.5 The Zone.
It is the greatest time of the year again. Football is officially back. Kickoff is here. I'm having a blast on Underdog Fantasy this football season. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got into the game last year by competing on Underdog. You can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats. That can be touchdowns. That can be passing yards. That can be receiving yards. I'm taking a look at Tajay Spears as the Titans take on the Dolphins this upcoming Monday. 42.5. His stats on rushing plus receiving yards. I'm going higher than that for the Titans this Monday. Making picks on Underdog, it is straightforward. Signing up is even easier. Just head to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code WILL, W-I-L-L, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first Cash Champions entry, plus up to $1,000 of bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code WILL to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
What's going on? It is 8 o'clock. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Thursday Night Football was a penalty palooza as the Cowboys take down the Giants 20-15. Malik Neighbors continues to impress with a 12-catch, 115-yard performance, but not enough as the Giants fall to 1-3. Dallas gets to 500 at 2-2. Titans' first injury report of the week as they prepare to head off to Miami. Jeffrey Simmons not practicing with an elbow injury. L'Jarius Sneed and DeAndre Hopkins with veteran days off, and Amani Hooker was limited with an injury to his face. Miami was without left tackle Teron Armstead, cornerback Kendall Fuller, Calais Campbell on the defensive line, and former Titan linebacker David Long all did not practice. Skylar Thompson was limited with a chest injury. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome into hour 3 of Ramon, Kayla, and Will here on this Friday. We always enjoy Fridays, even if it is a rainy one. We are streaming live on pretty much every platform: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. Join the show that way, or just enjoy listening as you're safely getting to work on this rainy morning. Like I said, give yourself some time to get there alongside our NFL veteran, our Vol for Life. We've got Ramon Foster,
Yay.
Robert Walsh making the show happen. I'm Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling out for this Friday. And we've got a little more time before you guys have either great thoughts or not great thoughts on the following Tuesday, because the Titans are playing on Monday. So maybe we will have a different type of talkback on Tuesday. But at this point, they are still an 0-3 team, Ramon, and a lot of the focus this weekend, on Monday, will be on that offensive line. We've spoke so much about it. If the line was a little better, could Will Levis function a little bit better? And right now, that's to be determined. I'm just curious as to what you're looking forward to as you travel to Miami on Monday.
A consistent plan, Kayla.
Yeah.
The ability to adjust and to keep a level of consistency from the opening quarter to the fourth quarter. I think that's what we've gotten so many incomplete just quarters out of this team, to where first quarter start, first drive, awesome. Second drive is on the start, on its way to be better. And I mean, by the time you get to the end of the game, you can identify moments in the game. It's just like, yeah, you dropped the ball right there. Yeah, that wasn't good. Or it was a turnover. Like, I just want a consistent 4 quarters of play and play call. And I'll even throw that in there too, of just staying on schedule. This has been this team's biggest gripe, I think, this year offensively. It's just staying on schedule. The defense, I really ain't got much to push back on, other than the fact that, last game, hopefully that was an anomaly. This is just one-off that this team needed a reset before, moving forward. The surprise of Malik, not knowing what that was going to bring to Nashville.
And it did surprise them.
Yes, it did. I think that opening play for Green Bay on their script, where he dropped a 30-yard pass. I mean, it was a catch and run for 30 yards. Mm-hmm. I think that, just kind of that can throw off anybody's game plan at that point. Where I personally didn't expect Malik to open up the game with a pass. So,
no.
Whether that be growing pains for Denard, this defense, or just the expectation of respect for your opponent, which I know they have. But that, to me, Kayla, is what I'm expecting. And of course, I can throw the O-line in there, but I feel like I'm bullying at this point with me talking about that so much,
Well,
Kayla.
then I'll talk about it,
All
because it wasn't just us asking about this. It was other media members that spoke to the offensive coordinator, Nick Holtz, yesterday about it. And a very interesting answer from Nick Holtz on what today will bring in terms of that right tackle battle. Because right now, either one of those guys can play. Bert?
Well, they both have also been getting reps leading up to this. So, it hasn't been Nick taking all the reps anyways. Those guys always roll. But really the big day is tomorrow. We'll be in full pads. Kind of everybody's, can block in with no pads on and kind of, I would have had them and those kind of things, see the hand placement things. But it's hard to evaluate that. So tomorrow will be a big day and they'll get a bunch of live-ish situations. And the guy that plays the best will kind of take the job. And, Nick, I know he wants some plays back and JD does too. And so they just got to kind of keep growing and it's what we got.
The hope is that one of those guys take a jump and improve. But if you don't see that as the Biden, maybe a spot where you guys consider mixing things around and looking.
That's an upper management decision that I can't totally get to. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, what our long-term roster plans are. But yeah, I think everything's always on the table. But we feel really good. We do feel good about those guys, and we think they'll take the jump.
So. Okay. That was Nick Holtz, offensive coordinator for the Titans. I found that a little interesting. We know that Brian Callahan opened it up on Monday saying this was going to be something that is not solidified at this point. I'm curious, Ramon, how much do these guys, especially Nicholas Petit-Frere, who has started the season at the position, how much stress right now is going on? And knowing, too, that, okay, Friday might be the day they make a decision today.
On NPF and Jalen Duncan, as far as stress?
Yeah.
I'll use both phrases here. I could care less or I couldn't care less. Mm-hmm. I said this on 3HL yesterday when they were asking me about it. Like, I don't give a you-know-what about the stress levels because everybody's pressurized in the NFL.
Right.
And what I don't want to do is make an excuse and be like, oh, we need to be sympathetic to what's, in front of those dudes. No, you have a golden opportunity here to grab this starting job again. As Coach Holtz just said, they're in a competition in season right now to figure out who's going to have the best week. If you are a true competitor, this is what you do. And I sympathize with people that deal with real anxiety and stress and depression. But this to me this ain't one of the moments. This is a goal.
This is competition.
It's competition. And you signed up for this. This is your dream that you wanted as a kid at some point in time, whether you realize it in college or whether you realize it in high school. So I'm never going to feel sorry for somebody that's getting a golden opportunity to make more money than 99% of the United States. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's where I'm at with this situation right here. I have no sympathy for this one because, again, I've been in that situation before. I didn't win the starting job outright out of training camp, and I dug and dug and dig and dig and dig and figured that thing out until I snatched it back. Mm-hmm. And that's where they have to figure this out for themselves. You got to go to an opportunity. We heard Calvin Ridley speak about it earlier in the 6 o'clock, or he was speaking on Monday Night Football while all the lights are on. I'm sorry, but Kayla, I got up for those.
Yeah,
I want you to see my nameplate whenever we're out there on the field.
What did
you know
it say about Ramon Foster?
Foster, the University of Tennessee. Yes, all of those things, man. Like, this is a golden moment for both of these dudes. And I think the second question that Nick Holtz was asked was, well, if you're having a competition now, then what does it mean for you guys to go get something else? Well, and he chuckled. Like,
it was an interesting response.
People, the chuckle is, well, we probably are already looking, but that ain't my decision to make right now. That's Rand and Coach Callahan's decision and Chad Brinker, right, to bring in the vet if this doesn't work out. The best thing about this situation and the worst thing is whoever wins is the best for the week. Mm-hmm. And the bad thing, I guess the good thing is if they're bad on Monday night, then you go find somebody else over the week. So
you'll have time to do it, right?
There's an answer, and it ain't the one that we probably all want, but there's an answer here for this, and it starts with those two individuals, and Jalen Duncan and Nicholas Petit-Frere.
Yeah, it does, and I'll say this before we get to Kyle and Shelbyville. Both guys this week in MPF and Jalen Duncan, and I always tell you guys, I will go and ask these questions. We talk about things, but I also go and ask those questions in the locker room. I'm not going to sit here and talk about stuff and then not ask these guys, face to face. Unfortunately, neither of these guys have been in the locker room this week. Now, there is a chance.
They haven't been in the locker room this week.
No. There is a chance today that they're in there because it is a Friday and there will be availability. So I'm not out there today, but there are people that are going to be there. So if they're in there, I'm sure they'll talk to him. But I did want to say we were trying to effort to try to talk with, both of those guys. And we haven't gotten the chance yet. Kyle in Shelbyville, you're talking about the Titans defense, which we're going to get to in hour 4 too, a little bit more deeper. What do you got to have for us this morning? What do you have for us, I should say, Kyle?
Morning, Kyle.
Morning. I think this game comes down to our defense playing smart. We know that Miami doesn't really have a strong quarterback, so McDaniels is going to find a way to get his playmakers the ball, screens, reverses, throwbacks, whatever you want to call it, but we just got to make sure we're ready because we got schooled against Malik, and we can't let that happen again. And, we A-Chain, Waddle, Hill, enough said, man. Those guys, they get the ball in their hands, they break tackles, and we're missing tackles 14% of the time. So our defense has to bring it, and Wilson can't get screwed this weekend. So that's my take.
Yeah,
appreciate you, Kyle. Yeah, the defense missed 15 tackles against Green Bay for 118 yards. So there's that stat for you. That's got to be cleaned up. Thanks, Kyle.
On the way out, not to shift stuff, but we talked about UNLV's quarterback and that whole situation this morning. Brett McMurphy, 17 minutes ago, wanting to keep UNLV's playoff hopes alive. Circa Sports CEO has contacted ULV and offering to compensate the former quarterback the $100,000 he was allegedly promised by an assistant coach. So Circa, if you're going to stay in Vegas, you got to stay at Circa. Circa is stepping up and saying they will pay him that money if he will come back and play.
Well, first of all, we've got Mike Keith coming up, the voice of the Tennessee Titans, but let's get back to that after Mike Keith because that's a fascinating story. My goodness. Thanks for bringing us that, Bert. Coming up next, though, he is the VOTT. Mike Keith to dig deeper into the Tennessee Titans matchup on Monday Night Football with the Dolphins. That's coming up next. RKW 104.5, The Zone.
It's Ramon and Kayla here for Window Nation. Letting you know, if you buy 2 windows, you'll get 2 free. Yes, free from Window Nation. Plus, you'll pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. Also, the reason we're telling you this is if you got old, inefficient windows, man, you're losing a lot of energy out of your homes, whether that's cold air or whether that's heat for this winter. All right, and it's costing you hundreds of dollars a year. Get Window Nation over to your house, Kayla, so they can get those old, inefficient windows out.
That is right. Our good friends at Window Nation always making sure that they install things right the first time. And that's what they do because all they do is windows. They are the experts, installing over 200,000 windows. That is 40 times more the average window company. 96% of those, they don't need any follow-up service. They also have over 20,000 online positive reviews. They have customers that truly believe in them and that are going back anytime they need new windows to our friends at windownation.com. You can check them out for their deal this month. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus no down payment, no interest, and no payments for 24 months. All you got to do is visit them at windownation.com, or you can call them at 866-90-NATION. When you hear that music, you know it is time for the voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith, joining us this morning. A fine Friday. I'm enjoying the rain, though, Mike, because we needed it here in Middle Tennessee, but we've warned everybody, just drive in safe today.
Yeah, it was tough. I've just driven in the last few minutes, and it's tough. Fortunately, it seemed like people were looking out for each other, but as they like to say in football, back to the olden days, and I think they still say it, head on a swivel, everybody.
Woo, yes, sir. Mike, entering this weekend, and we'll get a little bit extra time for the Tennessee Titans as they prepare for Monday Night Football, but how do you feel like they've come off of last week and regrouping with another chance to try to just get into the win column this season?
I think they've been very analytical, Kayla, and I think that's the important thing that they have to do right now is they can't get emotional. And that does not mean that you lack spirit and fight and excitement. Not that. It means that you have to look at the tape and say, this is good. Do more of this. This is bad. Don't do this ever again. And here's an area where you did something pretty great or pretty good, or you did it just a little below par. Here's how you do it. And then they have the ability as the coaching staff to say, here are the things we're now going to be able to add in because we have things on tape. Brian Callahan has touched on this some, and I think Brian is keenly aware that it could sound unusual, but this is such a building process right now for this organization that they've got to keep in mind the week-to-week steps and the growth and the things that are wrong, because as they build this foundation, which is really what September was always going to be about, as they build the foundation, they have to keep that in mind. Now, by building it properly and by executing it properly, you're going to win a game. It's going to happen. You may win 2 or 3 games. You may win 6 in a row. I mean, you don't know. But the whole thing right now still has to be about process, and that's what we feel in the building. We feel, I mean, nobody's happy, not saying that, but they are just maintaining what they're doing, going about the business of determining proper scheme for this team, refinements, all kinds of corrections, and then determining, hey, this personnel might not work. This guy might not be working out for us, and he might not ever. He might look better in practice than he does in a game. Or a player who shows up in a game, you're saying maybe we should give him more. It's still very much a learning time at this point, which is hard to hear, but honestly, that's where the Titans are at this moment.
I like how you said there could be a player who you said maybe we want to use him more. And you always know on a Monday night game, especially, it seems to have some magic, Mike. I know you've probably seen some incredible performances over the years. Last year we saw Tajay Spears, a Will Levis. What is it about the bright lights that kind of can enhance somebody's play that we've not even seen before yet on the roster?
It's still about Howard Cosell, even though the majority of the people involved in Monday Night Football this Monday will have no idea who Howard Cosell is. And I think if you take the original unscripted TV programming, the original reality TV, it was Monday Night Football. Because we didn't know what Howard was going to do or say, or what state of inebriation he would be in. We didn't know what Don Meredith was going to do or say, or how many adult beverages he had had. We had never seen that. We had also never seen a collaboration between the NFL and a TV network to make TV a show. And more of our NFL programming is a show now, We're the number one. Sunday Night Football is the number one show on TV. We make shows out of the schedule release. We make shows out of the combine. We make shows out of the actual draft. We make shows of the first Saturday we practice. But where that came from was Monday Night Football. And it's the only time, except for the 2 weeks that there are 2 games, but it's the only time that the other 30 teams are totally freed up, not traveling, nothing like that, that they're totally freed up to watch. And that's where you can show out for your guys. You can show out for your family. You can show out for the guys that you played with in college, in high school, so on and so forth. It is the original unscripted reality TV program in the history of TV. And it goes back to, there's still a tinge of it that is about Howard Cosell, even though he's not there.
Wow.
Mike, you bring that up as far as the big production and expectations of Monday Night Football. One, getting a win will be huge, but getting a win in front of a national audience, Mike, is even bigger. Kayla interviewed Calvin Ridley yesterday, and he had a quote that said, a win could catapult this team. And I know that sounds like, coach speak, cliches and stuff like that, but figuring out the method, to your point, Mike, of winning, how big would that be on Monday Night Football?
Well, I was asked on another show earlier this week, what does this team need? The host of the program broke down all of the many issues that the team has. He says, what does this team need? I said, a win. Just a win. They need to win. Because suddenly all the stuff that's being preached, all the examples of how this is all going to work, it all comes together in that moment with a win. And it doesn't fix everything. It doesn't mean, oh boy, we're going 14-3 and we'll never lose again in the history of the franchise. No. But it takes, especially going into a bye, especially that good feeling, the works. Oh, this is what Coach Rocker's been telling us. Oh, this is what Tyke Tolbert has been coaching us on. Now it all makes sense. Now I see how it all fits together. That's the challenge. This team just needs a win, and they need a win desperately, because that's what moves you to the next stage of what is a transition period for this entire organization. A win helps lift every single boat in a very different way when everything is new, and that's where the Titans are right now.
It is. And Mike, on the other side of this, we've covered both of them as far as Nicholas Petit-Frere and also Jalen Duncan. Just how big of an opportunity is it for those guys to, one, I think they're in the competition for the rest of the week and they'll be, named starter. But specifically for a guy like Jalen Duncan that didn't win the job outright in camp, have this new opportunity, Mike, to somewhat compete, man, and really just put a stake in the ground as his career goes. Where are you at on him and NPF's battle they have going now?
Well, they're both in the same place. They've got a chance to win a job that if they learn how to do the job, they could hold on to it for years. They could make a ton of money. Yeah. I mean, this is a moment that one of them, maybe both of them, I don't know, will look back and say, this moment transformed my career, transformed my life potentially, because, I mean, let's say one of those guys wins this job and becomes very proficient at it. Well, then he's getting a new contract in NPF's case very soon, and it's going to be a lot more lucrative than the first one he got. So you have just the basic, the basic professional and monetary part of it. But this is also the moment that is going to often send somebody likely on the way to being a journeyman. That everybody's going to try to see the potential, which both of them have, and can you get it out of them? Not just from the standpoint of coaching, but do they want it enough? Can they do it? I mean, look at these two. I mean, Duncan physically is so imposing. He's a wonderful athlete. NPF is smart and big, and he's talented as well. The the athlete part at a certain point ends, and it becomes, is a guy a good football player? I mean, because guess what we're still doing? We're still playing football.
Right.
And some dudes can just play football really well, you know? And that's what you're looking for at times is at a certain point, you just got to make a football play. You just got to get a guy blocked, or you just got to get a guy on the ground, or you just have to catch the pass no matter what happens. And that's where it's at. The Titans are looking for football players at this moment. In January, they'll start looking for potential again. They'll start looking for traits. They'll start looking for upside. They're looking for football players right now. And that's where there's audition at a lot of spots because they're wanting to see, can this guy convert it? Yeah. And you know what? Some guys just can't. Some guys just, they don't want to give what it takes. They don't understand what they're being taught, and they just, or they understand it and they can't make it work, or it's just not going to click. And then some guys it does. Mm-hmm. And then that upside takes hold. And listen, guys with upside, you're going to give them every chance. Man, you're going to give them every chance because what you're looking for in this league is you're looking for special. You know, you're not looking for the B+, you're looking for the A+. Yeah. And that's where they are right now. So somebody's got a big opportunity, and it won't last forever, or they'll move on to somebody else.
It's about as blunt as you can be, Mike.
Well, I mean,
I love it, though.
That's where, I mean, hey, this is where we are right now. Yeah. You know, and we're an 0-3 football team. And and we're a team that's starting over from the standpoint that everything about us has turned over very dramatically in the last few months. So this is where we are. You know, it's not where Cincinnati thinks they are right now or where Jacksonville thinks they are. You know, this is where we are. We are who we are. Our record is what it is, and we've just got to go get it. And I think that's going to happen because I'm a great believer in this head coach. I think he's got a really good grasp from a realistic standpoint of where we are and what we have to do. And I think that might be, of everything that seems dark right now, Brian Callahan is the brightest light, in my opinion. And he's the biggest reason that I'm excited to see this team on Monday night. And I'll be excited to see him against the Colts and so on and so forth, because I think it's in the process. It's hard to see it, but I think he's going to get us there because I think he knows what it takes. And I think he knows where we are right now, which is key. No
doubt. And speaking of expectation, there's been a conversation been had, and Kayla and I are going to have it, I think, a little bit later on the production of Jeffrey Simmons, who has, I think, 11 combined tackles and just 1 sack on the season. But if we've watched the game in stadium, you see that the amount of flourishing that Harold Landry has had has been because of the things that Jeffrey Simmons is also doing. Mike, where are you at on the speculation on Jeff needs to do more, or, he's a little bit behind expectation right now?
He's being asked to do some things in this system that aren't all for him or about him. And he's doing those A+ level. His production, I think, will continue to grow from the passes batted down, from the quarterback pressures, from the sacks. And he had a sack the other day on what was a really nice play inside the 10-yard line. You know, it's all so new in terms of what so many people are being asked to do responsibility-wise. He's being asked to do things that give other people chances. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that he's not going to show out more, that we sure wouldn't take a 4-sack game on Monday night. That would be super. But I think Jeff Simmons, you can equate to takeaways for the defense. I believe takeaways are coming because they always do, but I believe they happen in bunches, and I believe they happen in a hurry, and all of a sudden you say, oh, it's happened. somebody's turned the page, and it's not necessarily that. It's you've been working towards this, and it's finally just clicked in. I think it's going to be the same way for Jeff in terms of the statistics. And the two may go together. He may take the ball away for us from somebody, which would be great. But, I mean, if you're talking with people internally, to say they are elated with what Jeff is doing is different because they understand what he's being asked to do and how they're doing it.
Gotcha.
The VOTT, Mike Keith, joining us this morning on RKW. Mike, when it comes to this Mike McDaniel offense and the Miami Dolphins, they will be using a backup quarterback, which one we're not quite sure about yet. But what is different about this offense behind this head coach and what makes it so tricky to defend sometimes?
The speed. I mean, they have more, even this year with the quarterback problems, they've got Kayla. They have more yards run after the catch than any wide receiver core in the NFL. And they haven't even been throwing it well. Tyreek Hill has 12 plays in his career for 75 yards or more that have gone for touchdowns. Last year, the Miami Dolphins led the league by a big stretch with 14 plays of 50 yards or longer. This weekend a year ago, they hung 70 on a team. I mean, a good offense hangs 35 on you. They hung 70 on the Denver Broncos. 7-0, and could have kept going. Could have added a field goal at the end. Could have thrown into the end zone on fourth down if they'd wanted to. I mean, they are electric. They don't have their trigger man. That's true. But they still have the group of people that they have at tight end, at running back, and obviously at wide receiver that are just unmatched. And if it's Hundley at quarterback, he's another guy who is a big-time athlete who is a running threat, unlike Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle. Now, do they decide to go with one of the other guys because they feel like he can distribute the ball, or do they go with Snoop and try to do some things like what Malik Willis did last week, with the idea also being that, Snoop Hundley has a lot more experience than Malik Willis and can probably still distribute the ball in a way to this receiving core that makes them quite different.
That is fascinating stuff, Mike. I'm excited for the game. I know you guys are all traveling there. Safe travels to you guys all for what could hopefully be a win for the Titans on Monday Night Football. Mike, we always appreciate you.
Definitely, Mike.
Thank you. The plan's to win.
Yes.
Plans to win.
Absolutely.
It's much better with a dub, Mike, on everybody's
Absolutely.
front. So much better
We need
with
it.
a dub.
Let's go get it.
No doubt.
Have a great weekend,
See you
Mike.
later, Mike.
See you. Bye-bye.
That is the voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith. Look, he tells it how he feels it is. And that's just how Mike has always been. And he's been with this team for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I always really appreciate how he kind of just tells it.
Yeah,
is
he
that
gives
how it
it
is?
to
And it's sometimes maybe you think it's too positive,
Yeah.
but he's around this team day in and day out.
He gave about as a raw of an answer on
the
MPF
on the right
and
tackle.
Duncan than anybody. He said this is for either one of them or both. Could be in their careers where they turn into journeymen.
I thought that was actually extraordinary.
And you know what?
That this could be the moment
If
for that.
Somebody reported that back to them dudes that he said something like that. No, I wouldn't even care because that's as true as it gets. Like at some point, and they're both at that point where Jalen's a late round pick and NPF is going into his third year. Like, this is where you decide if I'm a starter in this league. Like, you don't get second chances almost at that position the way a Geno Smith or Baker Mayfield or the other Sam Darnold or whoever else gets, right? Kirk Cousins. Like, at some point in your career in the NFL, like, you have to say, I'm a starter or I'm a backup that's going to be finding jobs every other year.
And this could be the road that divides that for one of those guys. That's pretty interesting.
Because win, lose, or draw, we got about 10, 11, 12 days to sleep on what happens in Miami.
Woo! Tell them about it, Moan. All right, we'll tell you about this coming up next because this story about the UNLV quarterback Matthew Sluka is just getting wilder and wilder by the minute. The latest update on now maybe getting him to come back to play for the Runnin' Rebels, we'll sort it all out. That's coming up next on RKW here on 104.5 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for United Structural Systems, letting you know they are a foundation repair and waterproofing company that has served the Middle Tennessee area since 1994. They have more than 25,000 satisfied residential customers. On the waterproofing side of things, that can include the drainage or sealers, oftentimes both around your house. I'm sure today USS may be getting a few phone calls because this rain is nonstop. This is the folks you need to reach out to if you have issues around your house. And even on the inside, as far as the waterproofing goes, where you don't want that mold growing or anything else, well, guess what? Up to 50% of the air you breathe on the first floor of your home is the air that comes from your crawl space. So if you got some bad, icky stuff underneath it, well, you need to get USS over to your house because this is where they can encapsulate your crawl space and create a healthier home for you so you can breathe that good air, okay? Here's the thing about that, too. Many repairs are guaranteed for the lifetime of your home. They've been here since 94. They aren't going anywhere. They aren't any other company that you can just call and they're not there 2 years later. USS will be here. We guarantee our best. Call them at 615-488-7855 or online at USSTN.com.
Welcome back into RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will on this fine Friday, wrapping up the 8 o'clock hour with the story that just keeps on giving out of UNLV. The quarterback, Matthew Sluka, he announced that he would be transferring out. He will not finish the season because he was verbally promised, from what we are all gathering, $100,000. He was promised that by an assistant coach, but again, it was not in a written contract. Now, the latest in this story, courtesy of Brent McMurphy of Stadium Sports, wanting to keep UNLV's college football playoffs alive, Circus Sports CEO Derek Stevens had VP Mike Circa contact UNLV, offering to compensate the former QB Matthew Sluka $100,000, again, that he was allegedly promised by the assistant coach and not given. So now there is another layer, as Bert is going to fill us in on. That's not sitting well with UNLV, and that looks like no deal.
Yeah, so Derek Stevens and Mike Palm both got together and were like, look, we're in Vegas. Why don't we get together? We'll put the money in. And if Vegas goes to the playoff, it only helps us. So why wouldn't we put the money up? So they approached UNLV, gave them a phone call, like, hey, we'd love to put the money up to pay this kid what he says he was owed. And UNLV politely declined. Said, no, thank you. We would not like to do business with him or Sluka's family. So they were not a big fan of it. Also, the NCAA prohibits gambling or casino NIL sponsorships, to which Circa was like, well, he could be sponsored by Stadium Swim. He could be sponsored by one of the many restaurants at our casino. And so I think UNLV is happy that, or not really happy, but glad where the situation is at right now. They're going to roll with the 6-year transfer at backup and see where it goes from there. Also, when asked if the CEO of Circa had any Mountain West bets to make the college football playoff, he said, yes, I have Boise State plus 460.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, initially when you told us that, Bert, I was just like, I didn't think they could do business with the casino like that. But it was Vegas, and I didn't know if their state laws were any different or whatever. But the coach saying no, one, there's an answer for the payment. It's right there in front of you. The reason you say no to this is because you quit.
Exactly.
You quit. There's no way we can allow you. You know how coaches are. I'll go down with the ship before I come begging to you.
Could you imagine him coming back?
I mean, at least they know they got an outlet here through Circa. I'm telling you this, like moving forward, all he did was give themselves more promotion, more publicity, and now this is a national story because of Brent McMurphy that Circa is on the rise, and they will help you pay for your players if you need them to. By the way, $100,000 for a starting quarterback is a bargain in today's NIL world, too.
They were like, oh, that's a drop in the pan, man.
You know, they call it light work is
how
what
many,
that is.
How many quarterbacks y'all want? We'll get you 10 of them.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
They're like, we'll help our local team.
Oh, man.
You know.
Give me another one. By the way, I'm already putting this out here. I'm going to Circa for my birthday in 2025 is what I'm telling y'all. Keisha, book the flight already, okay? This hotel is insane. All this dude has
looked it up.
All this dude has done is made me go to Circa's website, and this is by far one of the best things they got going for him right now is this hotel. Bert, you are 100% correct.
If you like staying on which the benefit of staying on Fremont Street versus New Vegas, Vegas.
I ain't never been to Fremont Street, ever.
You're bougie. You've always just been to the New
Aria.
Vegas. Right, the good stuff.
Cosmopolitan.
So Fremont is kind of like the New Orleans of Las Vegas. Like, it's just one long strip. There's bars on either side, casinos on either side, street performers, bands.
Okay.
And it goes to like 4 a.m.
Oh, wow.
But you never know what time it is because there is a large dome that covers the whole strip.
Oh, I didn't know any of this.
It has light shows. It has commercials. So you can walk out there at like 2:30 in the morning and never have a clue what time of day it is. You are captivated. And then slink on over to the Golden Nugget, play a little insurance blackjack, and do what you got to do, man. You let me know. Whenever y'all want to roll to Circa, I am 100% down.
January
let's just get him to
7th,
sponsor the show.
What I'm telling you is this. If it's team don't make the playoffs, your boy going to have a birthday trip in mind. That's all I'm saying.
Well, right now, it's not looking like that's going to happen.
And Vegas in January is all I'm saying.
It's not as warm as you think, by the way.
It's warmer than here. Okay, I ain't say how warm I needed it, Kayla. Look, I ain't trying to go out there and bake. I'm there for a good time, not a long time. You hear me?
I get you. I get you.
And it's cold in January in Tennessee, so yeah.
Well,
book it.
It won't be cold on Monday night. It will be, that Miami weather. Even though we have gotten some storms, we're seeing the aftermath of it here up in Tennessee. But the Tennessee Titans will be playing on Monday night. We talked a little bit about Jeffrey Simmons with Mike Heath, but we'll get a little bit deeper into this. Is Jeffrey Simmons not exceeding expectations? Is he even getting to the point of meeting expectations? We'll dig into that a little bit deeper. That's coming up next on RKW here on 104.5, Hour 4. Put them up as we enter Hour 4. Coming up.
It's Ramon Foss for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Letting you know, you've heard me talk about Hiller, man, and how it feels to be a part of a family. Well, this month, Hiller is treating you like family, too, with their Friends and Family Savings event. Happy Hiller Club members save up to 25% off their first HVAC, plumbing, or electrical repair. And so much so, a family that I am, y'all, they're coming by my house on Monday to put up a couple ceiling fans, which is electrical. I'm going to go ahead and give them that coupon to get 25% off. Yes, get any discount you can. But if you're not a part of the Happy Hiller Club members, guess what? They got 10% discounts for you too. Present your coupon and save. To get the coupon, go to happyhiller.com.
What's going on? 9:01. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Thursday night football was a penalty palooza as the Cowboys take down the Giants 20-15. Malik Neighbors continue to impress with a 12-catch, 115-yard performance, but not enough as the Giants fall to 1-3. Dallas getting to 500 at 2-2. Titans in their first injury report of the week as they prepare to head off to Miami. Jeffrey Simmons did not practice with an injury to his elbow. L'Jarius Sneed and DeAndre Hopkins both with veteran days off, and Amani Hooker was limited with a facial injury. To the Miami side, as they are without left tackle Teron Armstead, cornerback Kendall Fuller, defensive lineman Calais Campbell, and former Titan David Long. Skylar Thompson, the quarterback, was limited with a chest injury. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Put the fours up. It is hour 4 of RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will here on this fine Friday. It's a little rainy out there. We need it. Just slow down as you're headed to work. Give yourself some time to get there safely. Alongside our 11-year NFL veteran, we've got Ramon Foster.
Yay.
We have Robert Walsh behind the glass. He's given us all the updates today. He'll just bring us breaking news, within the show.
He did.
He's just on it today. He is on it.
I got breaking news, too.
Oh, do you?
I do, absolutely.
What, you found a new website to scroll through?
Yeah, I did. With this one, I have a suite in my shopping cart for January 9th through the 13th.
You booked that trip already?
I didn't book it. I just priced it. That's all I'm telling you, man.
So, are you leaning towards?
Huh?
You leaning
that's just
booking?
That's a cool thing. Like my Vegas trips used to be like with the homies and the guys and stuff, and now I'm just like,
this
all
is
right,
a couples trip.
This is where we start planning a couples trip now.
Yeah.
For the folks that are into that type of thing.
If you're missing it, we have for some reason been on the algorithm of Vegas all morning long with the stories that we just have had throughout the show, and so Bert's given us all the great places, i.e. Circa, to go to and check out. So now Ramon is deep diving into this.
Circa, I didn't know your style because they're out
He's
here
impressed.
they're out here offering to pay $100,000 to a quarterback at UNLV. That's how we got there.
Yeah.
And Bert hyped me up to go to the website. Man, he knew I was going there.
He certainly did.
I'm wondering what show you're going to see while you're there. Did Adele already end her residency?
I thought she did.
Yeah, I think her last show was up. But I think they have a Cirque du Soleil there, which is incredible.
Those are cool.
I can kind of effort if you want me to be your travel manager, you just let me know. I'll
You
book
know
the
what he
whole
just
thing
did
for
there?
You.
Don't make my job easier, man.
He just said, hey, give me a ticket too, and I'll just be your chauffeur.
Bert's the first one to get the ask, okay?
Yeah.
Him and Cheyenne, hey, what y'all doing in January, man? You know what I'm saying? Cheyenne is with it. I already know her answer. This is Bert who's the drag.
Oh, see, that's why I thought I wasn't coming because I definitely ain't going with Cheyenne. I'm trying to go out there permanently.
Yeah,
Get your
what
new
are we
boot
talking
thing out
about?
there. It's like, put your mama on the phone. Winston, put your mama on the phone. I ain't never coming home. No, it's a couples trip, Bert, okay? Come on, get it together, dog.
Well, you can always join the conversation on the F&M Bake chat. We are streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. You can always tag us on at Ramon, Kayla, and Will if you want to join the conversation. That's easy, 615-737-1045. We've talked a lot of Titans this morning as they are getting ready to play the Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football. And a player we've also talked a little bit about with Mike Heath was Jeffrey Simmons, and he is going to be going up against a former teammate in Aaron Brewer on Monday. And so Jeffrey Simmons told us on Wednesday, I practiced against Brew. I know him. He's quick going lateral. He's a guy I feel good about. Our nose tackle lined up with over him, obviously, in T'Vondre Sweat, especially with his strengths. But again, Aaron Brewer, as he went to the Miami Dolphins this year, he's actually graded out well. 73.2 22 grade on Pro Football Focus. That's third best among Dolphins offensive starters. He's been credited with allowing just 3 pressures and no sacks. So it'll be interesting going up against a former teammate, Ramon. But just all in all, Jeffrey Simmons with 1 sack this season. He had 5.5 last year. In 2022, 7.5. And his best years in terms of sacks came in 2021 with 8.5. I think the question is, and it's not all about sacks all the time in terms of production, but are we seeing him live up to expectations right now?
Are we seeing him? Yeah, he's still Jeffrey Simmons. To me, the production and numbers come. I mean, think about this. We were having the exact same conversation last year about Harold Landry. And what did Harold Landry end up doing? He ended up reeling off double-digit sacks again last year coming off the ACL. The ramp-up to the season is, 1, figuring out what this defense is. Okay, it starts with who? The entire offseason, Jeffrey Simmons. Jeff is getting the double teams. I see the sideline stuff of how they make plays, and all I'm telling you is this. Harold and Jeff have a back and forth going. Yeah. And I think Harold understands that he's eating off the plate of Jeff, too, or Jeff is providing a meal for him, and he's cashing in on that. There's that. Mike Keefe alluded to it earlier, too, is with the understanding that, look, Jeff's playing a different role in this defense right now. And that may end up being more dirty work that he's doing. And again, if I was scouting this Titans defense, first picture to pop up would be 98. So with that being said, when you have an offense also that's not helping your defensive escapades, right? That doesn't also help you, because if I'm a team that can get a stronghold of this game, knowing that the opposing offense can't score the way you want them to, then I'm going to slow work this football up and down the field by running it, by dinking and dunking, by getting the ball out quick as much as I possibly can. Football is one of those things where we all want immediate results all the friggin' time. We always do, and I get it. It's one game a week, so I need to see everything right now. That's the way football is, especially when you are as passionate as this fan base is about this team. And on top of that, Jeff being a big billboard type of guy.
And paid, too.
Yeah. I'm not alarmed by Jeff's 1 sack, 11 tackles on the season. 1, he plays D tackle. It ain't many that get double-digit sacks year in and year out. Chris Jones, a one-of-one when it comes down to what he's doing. And Jeff has openly said he's chasing, he wants to be considered to be in that same conversation with a guy like him himself. So I ain't mad at that. But to say that Jeff's falling off or not living up to expectations, no. It's hard to live up to expectations when you have an unbalanced team essentially right now too. Okay,
absolutely. And this is a new defensive coordinator too. There is some stuff that has changed with this defense. By the way, Jeffrey Simmons looking to record a sack in consecutive games for the first time since weeks 1 and 2 of 2023 season. And Arden Key, his teammate, who also needs to obviously kind of get in the mix here in terms of getting some pressure on the quarterbacks. But he was asked about if Jeffrey Simmons has been drawing more doubles and slides this year. He said it's pretty comparable to last year for the most part, but he did allude to the fact that they have talked about specifically with Denard Wilson and the guys with continuing to try to find ways for Jeff to get that production.
It'll be there. I'm not worried about the pro himself. We had audio right there too, or do you just?
No, that was just my quick bringing to you the summary of yesterday when we talked to Arden.
Are we worried about the playmaker that Jeff is? No. We're not, right? Like, it's been proven in his career so far in the 5 years he's played before this 6th one, he can get to the ball. He can affect games. And the issue that he's had is, 1, the hands to the face. All right, that continue to drive.
Penalties,
and then the penalties that he's had. If you watch the tape and not just watch for results, he's getting double teamed. He's been put in a spot to where, 1, you've also played young quarterbacks that got to get the ball out.
And backup
quarterbacks, too. And, of course, getting thrown off the way you did last weekend with Malik coming in the game plan that Matt LaFleur had for him. All right, that's the one that if you want to critique that one. But to say that he's lost or not living up to it, it's a long season. And I'm of the understanding, too, that, look, narratives can change. if Jeff goes on to have a Pro Bowl All-Pro season, pick it up, and this defense does what he wants to, I'll just hope these same folks that are questioning it right now, come back to the table. It's like, we were wrong. This is a bunch of newness. This is guys playing behind him. He's got a rookie to the left of him also, or to the right of him, and you've had not enough support on the other side of things. His effectiveness is still there. It's a matter of we wanting numbers. Sometimes guys have to play roles so that others can eat, and eventually it opens up for the other guy. So me personally, not worried. If there's a gripe about him, it's one, get a win. Maybe the defense got to push a little bit more to cash in on a dub this upcoming Monday night. Those are the things that have to be done. I specifically remember when we were transitioning as a young offensive line where I played at, the conversation was, and it was open in front of the team. Coach Tomlin told them, defense, you might have to go score. And it was that.
Yeah.
So if there's any challenge to be given, I'd push it to the entire defense, because if the offense can't answer the call and y'all think y'all are that good defensively, and there are some playmakers on this squad, right? I know Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is going to have to step it up.
He's starting.
Big time. Big time. But if the defense won't answer from the offense, throw that pressure back on them by saying, look, if y'all can't score, screw it. We'll do it for you. Like, that's what happened to us, and it was demeaning as heck. It was a gut check also, Caleb, but it also made us realize, man, grow the heck up, y'all. Like, your defense is doing way too much, and that's where I am with this one right now. But I have low concerns about Jeff and his production right now.
Yeah, this is 3 games in. We've got to see, how they can bounce back, especially after that performance on Green Bay that none of them are happy about. And that's where we'll take the conversation next. Is you spoke a little bit about, creating those turnovers, maybe helping out in terms of the defense scoring. But what else needs to happen for this team to at least control? You're probably not going to shut down Miami's offense, but to control this Miami offense. We'll have that discussion. Plus, we'll take your phone calls. We'll invite you in, 615-737-1045. What do you want to see from this defense on Monday night? That's coming up next. RKW here on 1045 The Zone.
Hey, it's Will Bowling here from my friends at Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, TOA. Established in 1926, it is the largest and most comprehensive orthopedic practice in Tennessee. And Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, these guys are the leading experts in sports medicine and performance, and the team physicians for NFL, college, and high school athletes across Tennessee. Parents, if your kid is getting through the end of September, you're getting closer to fall break, you're playing high school football, or maybe you're in other seasons. You're running cross country, you're in soccer, you name it. If they're active, they got bumps and bruises, these are the folks that I trust. They provide sports medicine coverage to more high school and college sports teams than any orthopedic group in the state of Tennessee. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance offers direct access to sports medicine and performance, physical therapy and nutrition. You get personalized rehabilitation plans to enhance mobility, reduce pain, and improve overall physical function for patients recovering from injuries or surgeries. TOA.com. That's the website. 29 locations throughout Tennessee. That's Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. Online at TOA.com.
Welcome back into Ramon, Kayla, and Will here on this Friday morning. We've got plenty of you on the phone lines. Stick with us. We will definitely get to those as the show almost wraps up here. And we've talked a lot about the Titans' offense this week and the offensive line, but the defense, after starting strong after 2 weeks, they were the number one in team defense in the NFL leading up to that week 3.
Yeah.
After that performance, however, they have dropped to 4th in the NFL in total defense, also dropping from 10th in run defense to 20th after allowing 188 yards on the ground with the Packers. And one thing I've noticed, besides the missed tackles, and that was a given, right? And Denard Wilson spoke this week, talked about how they had missed 15 tackles for 118 yards against the Packers. First of all, that cannot happen again.
No, cannot.
Cannot against this Dolphins offense that can get creative and that has speed. What I feel like we're seeing, Ramon, too, is not being able to stop things on the outside.
Yeah.
How can that get cleaned up specifically?
One, support by the DBs and secondaries. I'm seeing in the chat right now, who is it? Somebody a second ago. R. Johnson said, Adams, earn your paycheck and quit tackling like Deion Sanders. Like, everybody got something dirty about their game. And for the DBs, if it's on the outside, being able to have them come up and play the run game and make tackles, that's number one. And also contain and pursuit, too. Like, this past game, and our chat is a smart chat, and they're bringing, stuff to our forefront by saying too many missed tackles last weekend. Like, that's a big thing. Over pursuing or over aggressiveness, whatever you want to call it, just lack of concentration. It starts there, Caleb, by being able to smother that and not get reached on the front side. This is something I did point out at some point in time that I would do if I was facing this team, specifically T'Vondre Sweat.
Okay.
It's a gift and not really a curse, but it's a gift and a negativity is what I would say, okay? For this reason, why would I run up the middle? Why? I'm not about to fight. I'm not about to fight T'Vondre Sweat.
300 plus pounds.
I'm going to go side to side, and I think that's what this team is getting a little bit of right now. And
interesting.
Not that it's a negative on him, but it's just the way they're going to be game planned against him. This is where he, as a young fellow, will have to step up his side, his expertise and professionalism by being able to pursue and run after the ball too. And again, these are things that the more film and tape you get, these are the things that teams will do. So right now they're attacking outside because why run up the middle? And of course, when you got guys that are, either over pursuing or not getting to the ball as quick as they can to get the runner down, these are the issues that you have. And I ain't mad at being over aggressive. It's a matter of making routine plays routine. And that's why I think this defense kind of, let the rope slip a little bit last week. I truthfully do believe that what happened in the first series of that game could have. Now, I don't know Denard Wilson like that. He's very professional about his business. But it could probably throw your game plan and script off when you see that Malik has the ability to throw down the field. Or better yet, let me say this. The fact that Green Bay was going to allow Malik to throw down the field. And he had his playmakers
they layered
make plays.
in week 2 for him, or his second showing.
They built upon a game plan for him. And I would have gone into this game thinking that, well, the Tennessee Titans know everything about Malik. What's the one way to throw them off? Is probably put the ball in his hand and let him throw down the field.
Sure.
And I don't know if there was much adjustment to be had after that, but the defense didn't show it because, again, if they were trying to get after the pass, well, they neglected the run game. 188 yards on the ground.
That's the most they've given up this season. They were not giving up 100 plus.
That's a hard way to win games right there if a team can run for 180 plus on you.
Yeah. So Arden Key, who we spoke to yesterday, he saw, he said in the first 2 weeks they saw a lot of the screen game, but last week against the Packers, it was more of crack toss plays. And I was looking at something that Easton Freeze put out on Twitter that they had doubled their explosive run plays, 10 plus yards allowed this season. He had charted a week 3 in terms of some of those plays, 2 quarterback scrambles, 7 runs outside the tackles, 1 run, zone run inside the tackles. So that just kind of paints the picture.
Exactly what I just said there, right? Yeah, they're going side to side on them.
Absolutely. So you're exactly right, Ramon. Let's go out to the phone lines real quick where we have Eric in Nashville talking Titans. Eric, you're on with RKW.
Hello?
Hi, Eric.
What up, Eric?
Okay, I got to respond to something yesterday on the radio. I'm sorry I didn't call back yesterday. I'm out of the room, and I walk back in, and they came to the mailman talking about me yesterday. And look, I'm 61. I'm not 65. It's like he's trying to add years on me to get into the ground or something. He probably said I was either in a wheelchair or walker or something like that. But I know why he said all those things about me, because he's jealous because his wife likes me more than he does him.
Well, we've got some trash talk on this
Look
Friday.
at Eric with his players.
Listeners.
I'm just messing with him.
Mister, take your girl.
Let's
Eric.
go.
But he sent me a gift. I haven't gotten it yet, but I've got to go find out if it's in the office in my building, because a lot of times he get packages and stuff. He did send me something. He told me for my birthday, but I haven't seen it yet. But it supposedly it's real nice. But I believe he treated me good. But he's a great guy. I've known him for over 40 years. I've known him since 1980. Real good guy. And also, by the way, his son Jack is actually going to be at the Miami game Monday night. He's flying down Sunday. He saved up his money, so he'll be there for the Dolphins game.
Hopefully they get a win.
Yeah, I hope so too, guys. But as far as the game, the defense, guys, I think the defense will play a lot better. I'm expecting the Jerry Sneed to shut down Tyreek Hill. It's going to be a dubious task, but I think he can do it. It's going to be interesting to see who the other guy is going to be on Jalen Waddle. But the one question I did want to ask you guys, I guess we still don't know if it's going to be Skylar Thompson or Tyler Hunt that's playing in the game. But do you think that Mike McDaniel may try and scheme up like maybe some trick plays to try and make a more, I guess, kind of creative offense against the Titans defense Monday night, since he doesn't do what he probably would normally do with Tua? Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Thanks,
guys,
Eric.
Y'all take care. Have a great weekend and stay dry.
You too, Eric. Happy belated birthday.
Hey, we'll talk
happy
again
belated
soon.
birthday.
Where did that
What
come
is that supposed to mean?
What is that? What was that?
That's what he always says. He didn't say it that time. He always says, we'll talk again soon.
I thought you was
Well,
going
we'll
to
say
you
it
miss
for
him.
you. We'll talk again soon, Eric.
Yes.
We miss you.
Does that work?
Mr. Eric, a.k.a. hide your kids, hide your wife when he's around.
Eric,
I
Mr.
loved-
Peach Basket.
I loved that trash talk. I wanted to get him going further on Trash Talk Friday.
I mean, he came back to him. That's all I'm
He
talking
did.
about.
He absolutely did. That's interesting. What they decide to do to throw this defense off, since clearly the defense was off kiltered a little bit last week with what the game plan was with Matt LaFleur and Malik. So it is interesting, and that does worry you a little bit because they have the pieces to get creative in some ways. What are you, I guess, worried about with Monday night?
With that, coach like Mike McDaniels will pull out all the stops, like pull out every trick in his bag. Because again, he can be creative with Ty Huntley. He can.
We call him Snoop, by the way. They call him Snoop.
Yeah, he can get creative with him. And if that's the case, and you got this defense somewhat guessing and, got to keep up with the speed that they have, because they have a bunch of track runners in Miami, that's what becomes bothersome to me. Of course, with Jarvis Brownlee being a rookie out there, going back home to play football. And, of course, the Titans haven't gotten a single turnover so far. So that's what I'm afraid of. Mike McDaniels, pull out all the stops. He goes with Ty Huntley, who I'd expect to get the start this weekend where he's running. He's running the option. I mean, A-Chain is a guy that can run up and down the field. You got a young college player and Jalen Wright who can run up and down the field. They got Waddle. They got Cheetah. I mean, that's what I'm afraid of, Kayla, is he decides on Monday night after the bad loss that they had, and this is just Miami we're speaking about.
Because Miami lost at Seattle.
They lost bad.
Yeah.
That you have a dude that's looking to make somebody else bleed. That's my biggest fear for Monday night.
And once that bleeding starts, it's hard to stop. Let's go to Ryan in Gallatin. Ryan, you're on with RKW. What's up?
Mike Heath is the best. I feel so
Isn't
good
he?
now. He says the same thing I do, but it sounds so much more intelligent.
He has that way.
We're blessed to have him. Moan, now you know this. What happens when professional athletes get embarrassed?
They
got
usually
embarrassed.
they go the other direction. They try to pass it on.
Embarrassed. And I also believe that for the Jags. Believe it or not, they got really bad embarrassed. I looked for them to beat the Texans. But Will Levis is throwing for 68%. That's a 10% improvement already. We knew if he did that, we would be good. We have a dirty car that's a great car with bad tires. You can clean the car up and buy new tires. And then you have a great car, and that's what the Titans got, and we're getting to go on a run.
Hey, and we go. Appreciate that call.
You, Ryan.
Hey, you don't need no ball tires in this weather right now.
No, you don't.
No.
Ryan is hyped up on a Friday. He's bringing some positivity to the show.
I do enjoy hearing that from this fan because negativity
right now it's tough, right?
is what gets pushed the most, especially on Twitter. So
social media.
I appreciate him calling in, being in that way. And again, the Titans were embarrassed last week. It's just we've yet to see the bounce back.
Yeah, and we heard Calvin Ridley speak about what Monday Night Football could be when it comes to a launching point.
Yeah.
And I want to hear from him again because there's, I think, word he used specifically at the end of what a win could do for them on Monday Night Football to kind of get this team headed in the right direction.
Monday Night Football, obviously, I mean, all the cameras on us. You get that real NFL atmosphere. Then you can really, like, the young guys I was trying to explain to a couple of them, you're going to see, like, you know, obviously our games were, you know, really good, but the Monday night, the Sunday night, and the Thursday will show you, like, the cameras come out, the people come out, everyone's watching. You'll say, like, all right, this is the NFL. I done made it now. But what was the next question? Sorry?
Just what, in terms of being back on track, you know, in a game like that especially.
Yeah, I mean, we need a win. I think a win will help us, just feel good. Anybody, settle us down a little bit. We need to get a win. And getting it on Monday Night Football when everyone's watching against the Miami Dolphins, a pretty good team. That'll just, you know, slingshot us into who knows what. We just need a win.
I want to ask you this. We always see players sometimes have their moments. It's almost sometimes they arrive on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And last year, we saw that for Tajay Spears. And I know he didn't like blow people out of the water, but he was a big part of why they had success in that game. I spoke with him in the locker room yesterday, and I found it interesting. He said, this week I looked back on something I wrote in my binder, and I reflected on a moment that I had in Monday Night Football last year.
Yeah.
And it was a good thing to set this week into motion. How, you know, what do you expect if there is somebody who can maybe come out of their shell or perform well this Monday night? Who could you maybe look towards doing that?
Calvin Ridley.
And he's from Miami, by the way.
I think it's necessary in a lot of different ways, man. He's an A-list guy in the sense of just the NFL. You know who he is. You say Calvin Ridley, you know who the heck he is. Like, ain't many people not going to know him. He's a guy I think I need to see step up. Of course, D-Hop is in that conversation, but I specifically want to see Calvin Ridley be the dude that is, I think, the highest salary on the team or the second highest, wherever it is, show up in primetime moments. Like I said, I played for a coach that demanded his A guys, his top tier dudes to show up in those games. And this is one of those games. He acknowledged that. And the conversation that you had with him about what this means to him when the lights come on. Like, he's a wide receiver. If you're going to get your Pro Bowl nods, your all pros, like, it happens on Monday night. And we were speaking a second ago, like, this is the only prime timer you have, unless you change the way the schedule and flexibility of games.
You don't have a Thursday game.
There's no Thursday. There's no other Monday night. There's no Sunday night for you. This is your opportunity to show the world that, look, at some point, if this thing gets flipped around and you're 7-3 or whatever the case may be, well, it started on Monday night. And then they got a reference by saying, oh, we've seen this team before. This is what has to happen. So my eye specifically is to a guy like Calvin Ridley, but that also is on the backs of offensive linemen too. So if we'll see what protection looks like this week.
Yeah, you were mentioning Calvin Ridley. Just 3 targets last weekend for 1 catch and 9 yards. Sorry, Bert, what were you going to say?
No, you're good. I was just going to say, if Calvin Ridley does have the game that everybody's talking about right now he's going to have, then we got to play this on Monday.
Slingshot engaged.
Because they're all the way back. If Calvin Ridley is the one that slingshots them into a winning a game, then we got to give him some flowers.
Can we just open up with that on the show on Tuesday?
Oh yeah, I'll slide it in there.
One more time.
Oh yeah, I think I got to read.
Sorry, I'm putting him on the spot.
You got excited. I mean, how could you not? Talladega Nights is pumped.
Yeah, right.
Awesome, let's do it again.
Hercules.
Anyway, forget it.
Yeah,
I'm scrapping it.
Calvin Ridley said he wants, this could slingshot this team, and you can interpret it any way you want, but Yeah, I think this team just needs a win right now. And I think going into the bye week, that's what makes it even more crucial. I think we spoke about this last year, you guys, when they lost to the Ravens in London when we were there. And that, when I say that locker room was the most depressing locker room I had ever been in after a game, that could be the case if they lose this weekend, going to the bye week, having to sit on a loss for that long.
Yeah, I see. We have some comments in our chat on YouTube, and it said that locker room sounds like they're having way too much fun. Here's the thing, though, too. Players hit a reset after Wednesday.
Yeah.
Kayla know it, too. No matter how good or bad the season is, like, life goes on. Like, the weight of losing, it still is there. Like, I know those guys in the locker room are having fun. You hear it on Kayla's audio
Usually the
right
ping
there.
pong table there, guys.
Yeah, but at least that's competition.
It is competition.
Right?
Yeah.
But the reality is, and even on the plane sometimes, losses, like you, as a pro, you got to move on quick.
Mm-hmm.
And these dudes are still human beings. And I know the fans are just like, no, they need to be quiet. They need to shut up. They need to go home and need to watch film. They also have lives. And in the locker room, this is what guys speak about whenever it comes down to what they miss. So this is a normal locker room, win or a loss after the fact, unless the coach snatches the ping pong table out, which has happened in Pittsburgh with us.
Wait, what happened? Don't just say that and then don't tell the story.
It was the 2013 season. We went 0-4 to start preseason when we used to play 4 games, and we went 0-4 to start the season, too, with a bye in between. He snatched a ping pong table out. He grabbed the trash cans out because we was playing basketball in the locker room, the shuffleboard, everything gone. You don't win games, you don't get to have fun.
So what was that was obviously a reset too for you guys, because then you said you rattled off how many wins?
We ended up 8-8. So that does happen. But as far as coaches this early in the season snatching ping pong tables and stuff away, like this is a no fun club is what it turned into. And at some point, it may get to that point, but as it stands right now, where this team is still figuring, the head coach. Got to watch my mouth. I was getting a little spice right there. The head coach is still figuring this thing out. So the fun that you hear is normal. It's a matter of, all right, can you get a win? And if you don't get a win, that's when you start taking stuff away. It's happened to our locker room before, too. I don't want to make it seem like that it was all peaches and cream there. No, it absolutely wasn't. Coaches have that call to do that.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Let's go out to Chris in California. Chris, you're on with RKW this morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm upset. I'm upset, fam. I'm an 0-3 Titans fan staring down the barrel of a bad season, and I'm not having it. I'm telling you right now, Big Jeff is getting it done with one arm. Tyreek's getting tranked by Snead, and he's going to be running in quicksand by the end of the day. I don't know what happened to Daniels and how he went to prep school teacher to Mr. I don't know what you do in Florida and gold jewelry guy, but it ain't going to help you, because it is all heart. I'm telling you right now, we're getting it done. Dr. Mayo is going to be throwing rockets from the pocket, boys and girls. This one's ours. Tune in on Monday. Get Ridley on the scene. It's over. Y'all have a good day. Tighten up. Anytime you need me, holler out.
We love it, Chris. We love it. It almost sounded like Mark Mariani when he gives his
blood in the
water picks. I was like, wait, no, but that was Chris from California giving us a little trash talk this weekend. And I just love it because the chat's like, what was that?
My boy was ready.
We got people still heated. They're ready to go.
Anytime, my brother, man. It sounded like he had rain on his windshield or bad shocks on his car. I don't know which one it was.
Well, it's raining everywhere at this point, right?
Yes.
Coming up, we wrap up the show here on RKW. One last chance for you to call into the show. 615-737-1045. That's next on RKW here on 1045 The Zone.
Sometimes good people go through hard times, and they need a little help getting back on their feet, or in this case, getting a roof back over their head. That's why North Point Roofing Systems is here to give you a little peace of mind, Ramon.
Yes, it is, Bert. And here's the thing, too. Just go to 1045 The Zone and submit someone, yourself or somebody else, in this prize of getting a free roof over your house. I promise you, you don't realize how much damage is on top of your roof until you have them over there. Here's the cool thing about them. They don't even get up on the roof. They send drone technology up there to see and assess what's going on top of it. They have their GAF Master Elite certification. So if there was any time to ever get anything free, it is right now. North Point Roofing Systems. All right, go to 1045 The Zone and enter to win for a free roof on top of your house.
Wrapping up the show here on RKW on a dreary, rainy Friday in Middle Tennessee, but that doesn't stop us from talking sports. We've had a good show today thanks to our good friend Brent Hubbs of VolQuest, voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith, and of course you for being a part of this show for 4 hours. Coming up next, it will be the Buck Rising Show with Lucas Panzica, and they have Jarvis Brownlee on the show. So,
nice.
Yeah, big time. Jarvis Brownlee getting the start with Chidobe Awuzie out right now with an injury. So a big opportunity back in his hometown of Miami to show out. Other than that, interesting around the AFC South in terms of matchups this weekend, Moan. The only other two teams that are 0-3 to start the season are the Cincinnati Bengals and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they will face the Texans this weekend. I do in the back of my mind think somehow, some way, the Jags have got to find a way to not go to 0-4, but they just have not done anything this year to make me think that they can pull out a win against the Texans, who, by the way, are coming off an embarrassing loss to the Vikings.
Yeah, what sucks for them is they've got a proven head coach already. They got a franchise quarterback. They got a heck of a roster for what it's worth, whether they've missed on draft picks or not. I mean, they've had quality as far as the draft goes and the guys that they've picked. I mean, to get Trevor Etienne and Trevor Lawrence in the same draft pick. You went and got Brian Thomas. Like, there's a lot of good in Jacksonville that you can point to. They got Pro Bowlers on defense. And for them to not be answering the call, the number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker, also, like, what is your problem? Like, if we're speaking fan bases, right? If I feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars should be more panicked than
I was
going to
say, who's in a bigger hole right now?
I think the Jaguars are for this reason, too, because at some point the quarterback outlasts the head coach. Unless they get that thing fixed, right? Because he's a first-round pick, unlike Will Levis. He's already in a second contract, unlike Will Levis. So guess what you do? Trevor Lawrence, this is your home. Like, Doug Peterson, figure it out or you will be gone. This is the way I look at his situation. They're closer to a holistic reset than they are actually, like, winning the Super Bowl at this point, unless they don't get turned around. And I know they're 0-3 and there's, 14 more games left on the season. But this is tough sledding when it comes down to thinking this team was going to be one of the favorites to win the AFC South.
Yeah, they're in a bad spot right now. That's going to be a big game for them. And the other one in the AFC South that's happening this weekend, I mean, you know it. It's going to be your Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to the Indianapolis Colts. And look, it's not like the Colts look remarkably better, but they did find a way to beat the Bears last week and to get their first win of the season. So they do have a win on the season, but this is going to be tough with Anthony Richardson still. A lot that has to be proven from him, too. The Steelers' defense is not anything you want to go up against right now as an unexperienced quarterback.
I think they overtook the Titans as the number 1 defense this past week, too.
They did. Yeah, they did.
They had -5 yards in the second half against the Chargers.
I saw a crazy stat, not to glaze the Steelers real quick.
Us
go ahead, brag a little bit.
Was it, is it Nate or Nick that is the pass rusher?
Nick,
he had 8 pass rush attempts, 50% success, 2 sacks. What is going on, dude?
Against
what
who?
Are they feeding
against
them?
Who, Bert?
Who'd he go against?
Was it Rashawn Slater?
Oh, you got it.
I mean, Slater's not a speed bump, is what I'm saying. Hey, this young dude came out of Wisconsin, looked up to T.J. Watt, and now is playing with him. And again, with Alex Highsmith being out, he racked up 2, like, he won sacks. He didn't fall into them more.
He wasn't the cleanup guy or something. He won them.
He won them. So, yeah, again, this is what we spoke about in that article we were discussing a little bit last year. Like, when you have an established culture in place, you know what you're looking for in the draft and prospects and stuff like that, which is what Pittsburgh has done. The only thing that's a little bit sketchy about this Pittsburgh Colts scheme to what we were originally talking about is the -1.5. I'm not understanding why the -1.5 unless they're just trying to make it as even as you possibly can so Vegas can win money. I think Arthur Smith in this offense, which he's a known play caller, right, more than anything, will be able to get more than a 1.5 point win against the Colts.
Are there any other games this weekend that you're going to be tuned into? Again, because this is a weekend where we were talking about this, Mona and I work every Sunday that the Titans play. You work every Sunday. So we don't get a chance to sit down and watch the full slate.
Yeah. Minnesota, Green Bay. Seeing if Jordan Love can come back, and if he doesn't win this game, what would the Malik guys be like?
You're going to throw this into the pot, huh?
We might as well, legitimately. And just also watching Cleveland and Las Vegas. Like, I'm always interested in what Cleveland's got going on because they I don't know what they do with their publicists and stuff, but they always have a strong offseason. Do they not, Bert? Like, the Browns always have a strong offseason.
They always get hyped up.
And I feel like they also have unlucky bumps along the way. Like the injury luck they're having right now is horrendous. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, oh, Bill Callahan leaves and their offensive line falls apart. But it's also like they're 3 weeks in and everybody is hurt. Right. Like it's just tough for them to bounce back. I almost feel bad for them, man. Every time they start getting good, I'm like, oh, I hate them dogs. And then they start getting down. I'm like, oh, they were who we thought they were. Ain't no reason to hate on them now.
Loyal fan base. What are you doing Sunday night? And we want to bring it up.
Man, my best. But listen. Okay, so let me see if I can find this stat, and I'll stall in the meantime. But I do have a lot of confidence going into this game. When you stack up and you look at position by position, I would take the Ravens' positions in a lot of cases outside of offensive line. This is a fun stat I saw earlier in the week. The Ravens are 20-3 in primetime games at M&T Bank Stadium during the John Harbaugh era. Baltimore's .870 win percentage is in such games is the best in the league by far, followed by Seattle with a .774. So they have a really good chance of winning this game based off history, and I think they have a really good chance of winning this game based off the guys who are actually playing in the game.
Yeah, gotcha. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Buffalo Bills, the undefeated Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Bills where they have a quarterback in Josh Allen who hasn't thrown for an interception this season. Maybe y'all could change that. Robert Walsh.
Kayla working on another jinx.
You know it. I got heat. I got heat for that.
About Justin Tucker he's been having a tough streak, man. Right? He about to miss every field goal this weekend.
Yeah, he is.
They did it last night to Brandon Aubrey.
Yep.
When they was like, he's been perfect. Look at this play.
Did a feature on him and everything.
That said that he did that on purpose to mess up the spread.
I'm telling you, that's always some talk.
Because if you look at the reaction after the kick, like they were so unbothered by it.
Yep.
Wow.
That does it for RK Dub here on a Friday, but we actually have a preview Monday because we got Monday Night Football. We'll get to all of that. We've got NFL reporter Cameron Wolf joining us on the show on Monday morning. That and everything else coming up. But until then, enjoy your weekend. And Ramon Foster, words of advice.
See y'all on Monday, man. But remember at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.